before the kickoff, let's go down to the field. Pam Oliver is with the bus. Jerome Bettis. Pam.
All right, Jerome, Minnesota still clinging to the slim hope that they can salvage the season. How do the Steelers keep this game out of the hands of a desperate team?
Well, what we need to do is keep the ball away from their offense. They've got explosive offense, and if we can run the football and control the clock, I think we can win the game.
Obviously, the running game is central to this offense, but lately we've been seeing some nice glimpses from Cordell and company. How refreshing has that been for the offense?
It's been great, because in order for us to get past the division and get into the playoffs, we're going to need the passing game. And it's just great to have them there, because it takes a lot of load off my shoulders.
All right, thanks a lot, Batman. Let's go back upstairs to Dick.
All right, Pam. So Jerome Bettis, 9 yards away from yet another 1,000-yard season. It would be his 8th of his career, as the Steelers will go to work on offense early. Mitch Berger will kick off for the Vikings. And Troy Edwards and Hank Poteet are back. Edwards on the right. Had a big game last week against Tennessee. That is Poteet. And the game is underway. Temperatures in the 50s. Clear day. And it's Hank Poteet returning for the Steelers. And he gets out close to the 30-yard line. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, and getting it done on every area. Wayne Gandy, Alan Faneca, Jeff Hardings, Oliver Ross starts his second game at right guard, and Smith at right tackle. Hines Ward and Plexico Barris are the wide receivers. Jerome Bettis, the running back. John Whitman, the fullback. Jeremy Tooman starting his second game. Mark Bruner out for the year. The impressive blocking tight end. And Cordell Stewart, the quarterback, as the Steelers start from the 28-yard line. And the give is to Bettis, busting outside. And Jerome Bettis with a big gain on the first play from scrimmage. Picks up 12 yards before Tyrone Carter pushes him out of bounds.
I think everybody considers Jerome Bettis to be a big physical runner, but he's got great feet. Everybody gets kind of pulled into the left side. Watch Jerome bounce outside. Eric Kelly gets caught up in the wash, loses support. And you got to keep an eye on Jerome. He's a big physical runner, but if you let him turn the corner, he's got the speed to take some big runs.
Yeah, and that's demoralizing for the Minnesota Vikings. They want to get up there and get 8 guys up and stop the run. Not a great way to start the ball game for them.
So Bettis over 1,000 for the 8th time in his career, 6th straight season. And the Steelers from the 40. And the pitch going to Bettis. And he fumbles the ball and picks it up. A loss of a couple on the play, and the tackle made by Talance Sawyer. Vikings defensively, and they have been better, although they have really overhauled that group since the start of the year. Sawyer, Hovan, Robbins, and Stalin Colonnay are the defensive linemen. Ed McDaniel, Kylie Wong, who's playing hurt, and Lemansky Hall are the linebackers. Eric Kelly, the rookie, and Dale Carter, the veteran, playing in his 3rd game since signing with the Vikings. And the safeties are Robert Griffith and Tyrone Carter. 2nd and 12 after the loss. And in motion goes Whitman, the fullback, to the left. Penalty marker down, and the pass is caught by Hines Ward, and he is pushed back, but his forward progress will be marked at the 46-yard line. Tyrone Carter and then Colonnay downfield. We'll have our first penalty of the game. Tony Coretti, the referee. Steelers right now are the top-seeded team in the AFC, although they and the Raiders are both 8-2 coming in.
Offside, defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
Bill Cowher, who is looking for his 100th victory as a head coach, has a losing record against divisional foes and against the Steelers. Denny Green got his 100th victory against the Giants on Monday night a couple of weeks ago. He has had a big edge against the AFC Central. 2nd down and 7 at the 43. Amos Zaraway, number 21, in at running back, and on the rollout, Cordell Stewart looking to throw, and he completes to Plexico Burris. It'll be a 1st down into Minnesota territory at the 46. Robert Griffith on the coverage, and a pickup of 11.
Well, and that's one of the things that has really benefited Cordell Stewart. One, you got the running game with Jerome Bettis, and you're able to come out off the play action. And Plexico Burris does a nice job of getting to the other side of the field and creating a lane for Cordell Stewart to throw him the football. And this is a guy, Plexico Burris, who has really come on strong in the last 2 to 3 ball games.
coming off his career high against Tennessee on the road last week. And here is Zeraway on the carry. Amos Zeraway off right tackle, picking up maybe a yard and a half. Kylie Wong coming in to make the tackle.
Yeah, Amos Zeraway, he's just a nice changeup for, you consider Jerome Bettis. He's the guy who's going to get the bulk of the running game in this game and in every ball game, and he's having an outstanding season. But a nice changeup when you bring in a guy like Amos Zeraway, and a little different style runner, and creates a nice changeup for the offense.
Caught his first career touchdown last week as a receiver against Tennessee. Second and 8, dropping back is Stewart, trying to get out of trouble, and he can do it. Fakes the run and is finally pushed out of bounds at the 38-yard line, and the crowd looking for a late hit penalty won't be coming, as it was Robert Griffith on the play.
Well, you look at Chris Hovan right here. He's the guy who really makes it happen. He's the one pushing up the field and forces Cordell Stewart up into the pocket, and he has nowhere to set up, and he's having to get outside and run. And Chris Hovan is one of those guys who just plays every single play as hard as he can go. And you look at this season that the Vikings are having, yet he's one of the real constants that they can depend on each and every week.
Lemansky Hall actually was the second player to push him out. So on 3rd and 2 out of the shotgun, pass is caught, and it appears that the Steelers have a first down. That's Bobby Shaw on the receiving end. Ed McDaniel with good coverage, but the Steelers will have enough for a first down.
Well, right now, what Denny Green talked to us yesterday about was being able to play a little bit more man coverage with Dale Carter and Eric Kelly stepping up their game. And what we're seeing right now is that is allowing them to pressure. They have brought pressure on almost every single play on this drive right now. Credit goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers for being able to pick up that pressure and execute their offense.
Vikings defense allowing a total of only 19 points in the last 2 games. 1st and 10 at the 35. Been running the ball, and here is the double reverse, and it's Cordell Stewart trying to get loose, and instead will lose about 5 yards on the play. So you can always count guys on Mike Mularkey coming up with some trickery in every game.
Well, in talking with him, he likes to have some gadgets to where he can try to throw the defense off. And right here, they're running the double reverse back to the quarterback, which is something you don't normally see. Cordell Stewart has great skills as a runner. That play there did not work like they had drawn it up.
Well, they didn't really get a chance to sell it on the initial reverse. Cordell Stewart only bailed out to about the hashes, so they really didn't gain an advantage by stretching that first reverse far enough to the sideline.
Jerome Bettis checking back in. 2nd down and 15. Back at the 40. Here is the design rollout, and Cordell Stewart going downfield, and that pass nowhere near a receiver. In fact, Jeremy Tooman was about 8 yards beyond, and covering on the play was Dale Carter.
You talk about the success here recently that Cordell Stewart has had, and there's a lot of different factors for that. One, he's starting to feel very comfortable with what Mike Mularkey, the offensive coordinator, is asking him to do within this system. And then that combined with the receivers. Hines Ward has been absolutely outstanding. Plexico Burris, as we mentioned a few plays earlier, he's really starting to come on. And you can sense the confidence that Cordell Stewart is having with these young group of receivers.
3rd and 15. 4 wide receivers. And again, here is Stewart on the pass. And going up to try to make a circus catch is Hines Ward, but Tyrone Carter is back there covering on the play. Robert Tate, the nickel back as well, and that will bring up 4th down and a kicking situation.
Yeah, they're trying to get the ball in there into the corner. You see Hines Ward there in the slot. He's working up, and as you mentioned, Robert Tate is going to be the safety coming over that puts the hit on Hines Ward that knocks that ball loose.
Josh Miller will punt from his 45-yard line. Nate Jaquette is going to let it bounce, the fair catch, and the penalty marker down as Jaquette calls for the fair catch and fields it at the 8-yard line. But a penalty has been thrown. And the preliminary signal is that it will be called against the Vikings. And declined by Bill Cowher. So he'll enjoy seeing the Vikings start their first possession from inside their 10, Troy.
On the receiving team participated in play. The penalty is declined. First down.
All right. Well, Hines Ward tried to make a leaping catch and got hit by 2 defenders. He might have been shaken up. No score. We'll be right back.
Dad, Timmy hit a home run.
Great. Put the little slugger on.
Hello?
I hear you got a...
Back here in Pittsburgh, Dante Culpepper did not take much of the snaps in practice this week. Todd Bauman, the backup, did most of that. And he has an injury, and last night it looked like he might not start today. But here he is, Dante Culpepper leading the Vikings from their 8-yard line. And the pass out to Chris Carter, and the wide receiver getting very little on the play. 3 in all. The offense for the Minnesota Vikings, Corbin Lucina back at left guard, perhaps a week earlier than they had hoped. Corey Withrow making his first start at right guard for Dave Dixon. And in the backfield, Harold Morrow will start at fullback. Klein Saucer remains hurt. Michael Bennett, the rookie, is the tailback with Moss and Carter, the big weapons. 2nd down and 7 from the 11-yard line. And here is Bennett, and he is smothered. Gets away for a couple of yards and brings it out to the 14-yard line. They'll still need about 5 as Jason Gilden came up with the pressure. That's what this team has done. The 3-4, the only team in the league using it. Casey Hampton, the #1 pick, is the nose tackle. Gilden made the last play. Joey Porter. Kendrell Bell having a big rookie year as the 2nd-round pick. And in the secondary, Dwayne Washington and Chance Scott, 3rd corners. Brent Alexander and Lee Flowers man the safeties. 3rd down and 4. Jake Reed is in the game, and the swing pass is to Randy Moss, and he goes out of bounds after picking up a 1st down and then some.
Well, that's a play that they like to run a lot of. You got a good blocker in Chris Carter on the outside, sealing the corner for him, and you get the ball into the hands of a fast wide receiver in Randy Moss, and you let him go try to make something happen. And a difficult pass to defend if you're a defensive back, and something that's very safe. And the thing right now is, what you've noticed is Dante Culpepper throwing the ball quick, taking 1 step and getting the ball out. Still waiting to see how that knee's going to affect him on his dropbacks and his accuracy throwing the football.
2 tight ends for the Vikings after the 13-yard pickup. And a 1st down at the 27-yard line. Play action. Culpepper has time, and he's going deep for Randy Moss. And the pass is overthrown as Moss stopped Dwayne Washington covering him, and that ball goes way over the head of 84.
Well, this was a game that they thought they were going to get a lot of opportunities to throw the football one-on-one on the outside. So many times this Minnesota Viking offense has had to face rolled coverage, 2-deep coverage. Teams are daring them to try to run the football against 7-man fronts. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they're a team that likes to bring pressure with their outside linebackers, their inside linebackers. As a result, the Vikings will get more one-on-one matchups than what they've had the last few weeks.
2nd down and 10. Multiple receivers, and here comes the blitz and the handoff to Bennett. Michael Bennett gets hit and dives forward at the 31-yard line. The tackle is by Lee Flowers, and a pickup of 5 for Bennett, who had his best rushing game of his rookie year, gaining 75 last week against the Bears.
And we're seeing just what Troy talked about at the top of the broadcast, the 2 tight end sets that they're bringing in. But unfortunately, right now, it looks like Byron Chamberlain, one of those tight ends, is down on the football field. And we'll see how this affects the play calling.
Byron Chamberlain used as a weapon earlier in the year by the Vikings, still down, and we will return in just a moment.
These are quarter.
Steelers and Vikings scoreless. 3rd down and 5 coming up from the 32. Andrew Jordan, number 85, has replaced Byron Chamberlain at tight end. Culpepper flips it out to Bennett, and Bennett is not going to get close. As the Steelers pursue impressively Deshae Townsend, who is probable with an injury coming up to make the 3rd down play.
And this has always been a trademark of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. When you get the ball, you better turn and get north and south right away. You cannot run sideline to sideline against this team. Watch all the jerseys come in. There's Deshae Townsend, Mike Logan, Lee Flowers is moving up. You're not going to gain any yardage going side to side.
Hank Poteet is back deep, and Mitch Berger's punt, and it's a good one, sending Poteet back inside the 25. And Poteet is hit on a fine special teams play by Lemansky Hall. 45-yard kick, 0 on the return. Scoreless in Pittsburgh, and the Vikings, who had intended to concentrate on running the ball, did anything but in their first possession of the game.
That was a little bit surprising. They did go in with the 2 tight end packages and the 2-back set, and they talk about wanting to run the football, and I would expect them to get back to that as the game progresses.
First down at the 23-yard line. Hines Ward split to the right, had the wind knocked out of him on the last possession. He's back in there now. Griffith coming up toward the line, and the handoff to Bettis. Bettis bouncing off, and Jerome Bettis. Great run by Bettis to the 45-yard line. Punishing running back, picking up 22 yards. Eric Kelly finally there.
Well, John Whitman, number 38, gets rid of Robert Griffith, and you see that little hole right there. There's your block as he comes around. And this is the bread and butter play in their offense. It doesn't look pretty, but they can get some stuff done.
And then you got Hines Ward on the outside, and this is one of the things that goes very unnoticed on this football team is the job that Hines Ward does as a blocker. He's having an outstanding season as a receiver, but that's one of the things that doesn't show up in the stat category is the blocking that he does down the field.
Pittsburgh Steelers lead the league in most rushes of 20 yards or more, and now a timeout has been called by Cordell Stewart. The Steelers and the Vikings. No score with under 6 minutes to go in the first.
Got questions? We've got answers. And by HP. Capture, create, and share with HP digital photography products.
You take a look at that last play, number 84, Jeremy Tooman. It's critical that the tight end be able to seal the corner to allow this play to work. And he comes in and replaces Mark Bruner at the tight end position, and he's done an outstanding job in filling in for him the last 2 weeks.
Mark Bruner right there had rotator cuff surgery. Jeremy Tooman has to be able to make that block because that is the key to the fundamental running play in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
First down from the 45, and here is Cordell Stewart's pass intercepted by Robert Griffith. And Robert Griffith out of bounds near midfield, so the Minnesota Vikings intercepting only their 8th pass of the year on the throw intended for Hines Ward. Boy, did the Vikings miss him when he was out 6 weeks.
Well, and Robert Griffith, you can see him right here on your screen. He's working across, and he's just reading Cordell Stewart's eyes all the way. Cordell's a little bit late on the post. You see Robert Griffith working across. That's a gimme right there for him.
And he told us last night that although Cordell Stewart had not thrown that interception in recent weeks, he still continues to stare down receivers. He felt that they were going to be able to get one today.
Well, the Vikings get the ball on the first turnover of the game. Dante Culpepper, the quarterback. Minnesota on their 47. Byron Chamberlain back in, was in motion. Here is Bennett trying to go to the outside, cutting up the middle, and dives into Steeler territory, and a gain of about 4.5.
Watch Cordell Stewart's eyes. He's focused in on Hines Ward, and this is what Robert Griffith was talking about. He hasn't thrown an he hadn't thrown an interception in 155 attempts, and there's been a lot of talk about that this week, but a lot of that is due to the play of the wide receivers. They've come back and knocked some balls away from guys.
That's exactly right. He hasn't thrown an interception, as you mentioned, last 155 passes, but he could have thrown 3 last week. Receivers done a nice job of breaking them up.
So it ends at 160 as Bennett charges up the middle for a Viking first down. Robert Bennett with good blocking up the middle, and so the Vikings may be headed to their plan is to control the ball and get back to the basics of the running game.
Well, Mike Tice talked about going against the 3-4 defense, and with all the injuries in his offensive line, he felt they matched up well. He really thinks that Corey Withrow is a guy who would do much better against the 3-4 as opposed to having a big tackle lining up over him. And you know, even though Corbin Lucina is a week away, he really felt that this was going to be a good opportunity for his offensive line to really concentrate on pounding the ball.
Yeah, you talk about Corbin Lucina, and they didn't want him to have to play this week, and they were going to go with Calvin Collins, and then on Thursday during practice he blows out his calf, and so Corbin Lucina has to come in and play a week early, and this has been an offensive line that they have had to do a lot of shuffling in order to keep these guys out there on the field and playing. And it's amazing to me the job that Mike Tice has done in preparing these guys and getting them ready to go each and every week.
Yeah, as he said to us last night, we got young real quick. And remember, they had Todd Stussy and, of course, the death of Corey Stringer. A lot of changes up front. Vikings get the first down by an inch. And on the 43-yard line, here is Michael Bennett, but the Steelers are there and throw Bennett back for a loss of 1, led by Earl Holmes, as we send it to James Brown for a game break in L.A. JB.
Dick, Troy, and Darrell, you guys remember the name Phil Luckett. Take a look here. Flea flicker on the part of the Saints. Aaron Brooks heading downfield. Joe Horn looks like he's up. But guess who's there to break it up? The back judge. What's his name? Phil Luckett. He had the coin toss fame against Pittsburgh 2 years ago. He can't avoid the spotlight. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darrell.
Is that amazing?
He just can't stay out of the way, can he?
He had a lot of room to get out of the way, let's face it.
2nd and 10 at the 43-yard line, and the handoff to Michael Bennett. And the rookie from Wisconsin doing a terrific job. And a first down to the 31-yard line. So Bennett, who gained the 75 yards last week, gets 12 now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these guys on the outside, Joey Porter and Jason Gilden, they like to get up the field. On that play, Joey Porter got up the field a little bit high. There you see Kendrell Bell missing a tackle, and Michael Bennett being able to make a few people miss and get some good yards on that play.
Already 30 yards on 6 carries for Bennett. Doug Chapman is the running back, and Lewis Kelly, a tackle, lined up as a tight end, number 61. And here is a pass. Wide open is Byron Chamberlain, and the Viking tight end gets knocked out of bounds at the 14 by Brent Alexander in a gain of 17, and this crowd in Pittsburgh is quiet.
Well, here's your 3 tight end set for the first time, what we've been talking about, and they're not running out of it. They're throwing out of it, so they're really mixing it up on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the line's done a good job really protecting Dante Culpepper. There you saw Jason Gilden get on there and put a little bit of a hit on him, but it's going to be important for the line to continue to give the protection to Dante Culpepper so he can sit in there and throw the football.
Minnesota calls the timeout. Back here in a scoreless game, but the Vikings are threatening, and this is just the first of a big doubleheader on Fox today in the NFL. The Cowboys and the Redskins, that long-time rivalry. Redskins have won 5 in a row after losing their first 5. First team in history, and the people in Pittsburgh will see the Raiders against the Arizona Cardinals. First down at the 14. 3 tight ends for the Vikings, and here is Bennett, and he is stuffed by Kimo von Oelhoffen. And a loss of a pair.
So far, what they've tried to do in terms of running the football with their, they're putting in Lewis Kelly as a 3rd tight end. And when they've had him in there and they've run the ball so far, they've not been able to get the production moving the football as they had hoped.
And the one big play with him in there in the 3 tight end package was the pass to Byron Chamberlain. So a good changeup by the Minnesota Vikings offense.
Minnesota running more than usual, but it's been well mixed for the Vikings. 2nd down and 12, and on the draw play, Doug Chapman getting the call, and Chapman getting close to the 5-yard line. He is still a couple of yards shy of the first down, and the 2 safeties, Lee Flowers and Brent Alexander, in on the play.
Well, and what the Vikings do there, really a nice job, is they go with a 4-wide package, and they spread everybody out, create the personnel matchups they want inside the box, give the ball to Doug Chapman, and let that offensive line work. Very nice call there in that situation.
3rd down and 3 at the 7. And this will be a pass as Culpepper finding Chamberlain, but it's out of the end zone, too wide. Coverage by Dwayne Washington, the ex-Viking. So on 4th down, the Steelers force the Vikings to get on the board with a field goal, and Gary Anderson will come into the game. Anderson, well known by the Pittsburgh fans and the Steelers, spent 13 years in a Steeler uniform and holding 20-team records. This will be a 25-yard attempt. And Anderson's kick is good. And the Vikings taking a 3-0 lead, and want to see how close Culpepper came to hooking up with Byron Chamberlain. This is what it was.
They've got to be careful. Cordell Stewart's got to be careful in this ball game and not turn it over.
And right now, Sherman Lewis is kind of keeping his counterpart, defensive coordinator Tim Lewis, on his toes. 3 tight ends in the game. He's throwing the ball. 4 wide receivers. He's running the football. So he's really doing a little bit of a change-up right now for the Minnesota Vikings in their offensive approach.
Mitch Berger will kick off, and Hank Poteet and Troy Edwards back deep. It is a short kick, and Troy Edwards on the 12 returning. And Edwards tackled at the 32-yard line by Travis Prentice. That return of 20 yards.
Well, the key play in that last drive was the interception by Robert Griffith that got it all started right there, coming over, reading Cordell Stewart's eyes and making the interception. And then you take a look at this last play, and this is what they're going to be doing all day. You got Jason Gilden, and he's going to be double teamed. You see Doug Chapman and Chris Lewinsky double teaming him on the outside. Jason Gilden is a guy who can put tremendous pressure on the quarterback, and they're going to be double teaming him along with Joey Porter on the outside all afternoon.
Half the field in shadows at this point. First down for the Steelers on the 32. And here's Jerome Bettis going to the outside and then trying to cut up the middle. And when all is said and done, picks up about 3. Lance Johnstone and Stalin Collinet on the defense.
Well, and really nice job by the fullback, John Whitman, getting outside and securing the corner and giving Jerome Bettis a place to run. And John Whitman is a guy who takes tremendous pride in what it is that he does. And here's a look at Jerome Bettis and John Whitman there getting a block just enough in order to get Jerome Bettis up inside. And Whitman's a guy who takes tremendous pride in his blocking skills, and he does a fabulous job with it.
Jeremy Tillman, the tight end, lined up to the top on the left. 2nd down and 7. And here is Bettis again going outside to the left, bounces off the defender and gets knocked out of bounds just short of the first down. Robert Griffith made the play on Bettis after Lemansky Hall bounced off of Jerome in the backfield. So far Jerome Bettis has averaged 8 yards a carry thanks to a couple of long runs.
Well, if you're going to have a good day, you're always going to have a couple of long runs, and we saw the graphic earlier how well Pittsburgh has done that with their 20-plus yard runs, but they will wear you down, and it's something that they're not going to get away from, and it's really been the foundation of this offense is getting Jerome untracked early, and then also letting this man Cordell Stewart get a run at some point early in the football game.
Well, that is the end of the first quarter with the score. The Vikings 3, the Steelers nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. And they're checking Jerome Bettis' left wrist, and here's talk about a resilient big running back. He had the ice packs on his knee. He's been hurt, plays hurt. He's had all sorts of ailments.
He says this is the healthiest that he's been this late in the season at any point in his career.
3rd down and 1 for the Steelers on their 41 as we start the second quarter. And the pitch going out to Amos Zaraway, and Zaraway getting the first down by a couple of yards. Willie Howard making the tackle, and the Steelers move the chain.
Well, the Vikings, they had the right call there. They were bringing the pressure on that side, and they were just able to get the ball to Zaraway and get him outside. They were able to bring everything down underneath with the pressure and get Zaraway the necessary yardage.
But right now what they're doing is they're really pressuring inside the tackles towards the center area. Pittsburgh is a team that likes to run the football on the edge. They like to be able to turn the corner on the perimeter. I like to see him adjust and come a little bit more with some pressure off the outside.
Practically even in plays and time of possession. Here is this slant, and it is incomplete. Intended for Plexico Burris as we have a game break right now and send it to JB.
Hey, Dick, after the incomplete pass with the help of Phil Luckett, Carolina capitalizes. Winky, quarterback draw, 4th rushing touchdown. Carolina up by 7. Detroit, looking for his first victory, gets a running touchdown by James Stewart, capping a long drive. 7-0 Lions. Let's take it back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
You know, the Lions have been knocking on the door so long, they're going to explode one of these days, and today could be that day. 2nd down and 10 out of the shotgun. Stewart's pass, and it's caught at midfield by Hines Ward, bringing up a 3rd and about a 5 with Kelly and Wong on the coverage.
And Hines Ward, boy, what a year he is having, and he's just turned himself into the complete player. You know, they brought him in, they brought Hines Ward in back in 1998, and then they drafted Plexico Burris, and they also brought in Troy Edwards to replace him. But Hines Ward has been a guy who's just been very, very consistent. He makes plays in the passing game. He runs great routes. the thing that has drawn the attention of these coaches and players is the job that he does in the running game with the blocks that he makes. He's just a blue-collar, hard-working guy.
All right.
3rd and 4 out of the shotgun, and here is the pass, and open for the first down is Plexico Burris. So the slant didn't connect on the left side, and they make it work on the other side, and a gain of 11.
And you watch him come on the release and then just break to the inside. It's being cleared out by Hines Ward. Nice job of creating that void, and that's the passing game we're talking about that Mike Mularkey has put in. There's not a lot of adjustments at the top of the routes. There's routes designed to clear out areas. This allows Cordell Stewart to come back and turn the ball loose, and these young receivers like Plaxico Burris and Troy Edwards don't have to think a lot at the top.
From the 39-yard line of the Vikings, who lead 3-0, and the handoff to John Whitman, and the fullback getting a burst and a first. Yeah. First down of the 24 and a gain of 14. Tyrone Carter ultimately making the stop.
Well, you know, sometimes offensive linemen have a tendency to take a play off when the fullback's number is called, thinking that he's not going to break a big run. But this offensive line, considered to be one of the best in the NFL, does a great job. John Whitman takes advantage of an opportunity to get a touch right there.
And a first down for the Steelers on the 25-yard line. And here is Jerome Bettis. Gets hit once and finally put down at the 21-yard line. A gain of 4 with Robert Griffith making the tackle.
And you got Lemansky Hall trying to get up in there and make the play as well. And the one thing that the Minnesota Vikings want to do defensively is they want to hit Jerome Bettis at the line of scrimmage. They don't want him getting ahead of steam going north and south up to the linebacker level. So far in this ball game, they've been unable to slow him down at the point of contact along the line of scrimmage.
And they've used everyone. Bettis, Zaraway, and Whitman, who rushed for the first time this year. 2nd and 6. Fake the pass, and here comes Slash to the 10. He's going to score. Touchdown, Steelers. No, they say he's down at the 1-yard line. And Cordell Stewart arguing, saying he was over and that the ball went over, but the official was right there and saw the knee land a yard from the end zone.
Well, what you're going to see, Cordell Stewart, they want to allow him to run the football. He's going to drop fake and then roll, and it's designed. This is not a broken down play. They try to secure it on the outside. They got receivers down the field blocking for him, none other than Hines Ward. A great job by Cordell Stewart. To me, it looked like he made it into the end zone.
So 1st and goal at the 1. And the give is to Jerome Bettis, and he goes in, but the play is whistle dead.
A challenge has come from the home team.
And they have challenged before the snap. Vikings just got it under the line.
Well, you take a closer look at it right here, and Cordell Stewart, where does his knee go down? It's down there, and it's where the ball is. It's not where the knee goes down. It's where the ball is when the knee touches the ground.
I tell you, from that angle, exactly what you're saying, it looks when the knee is down, he's got the ball stretched out. This is going to be our best opportunity. We're going to be right along the line. He's down right there. You got your linesman right on the goal line making that call. To me, it's kind of a risky situation to risk losing that timeout on a challenge when you've got 1st and goal at the 6-inch line. You know, you do it, you challenge, they overturn the call and give you the touchdown. But if not, you kind of wasted a timeout that could come in handy late in the half.
Well, you waste the timeout and you also waste the challenge. And you're right, Moose, that you're down there on the 1-yard line. I don't know how big of a factor it would be if in fact, you know, they come in there at 1st and goal from the 1-yard line as opposed to getting the touchdown there. But I don't know that there's an angle from what we saw that definitively shows that the ball did in fact cross the goal line plane.
Especially since the Steelers had called 2 timeouts earlier. And if this challenge goes by the boards, then they're out of timeouts for the half.
Here's another look at it.
Tyrone Carter was the Viking defensive back who...
I mean, you look this guy, right, look at the position right there. But, you know, the knee's down. I mean, if that guy can't make that call, I don't know what they're going to say to overturn it. He's in a perfect position right there to make the call.
Well, he's in a perfect position to make the call, and he was in a perfect position to block our view as to whether or not he actually crossed.
If the ball is over the plane before the knee is down, it is a touchdown. But there has to be clearly that fact for them to reverse this call.
I mean, you could always have a turnover. You know, if you don't get the play to score, you've got first down inside the 1. You could always have a turnover. You know, Minnesota can stop you and force you to kick a field goal and you lose the 4 points or the 7 points. But this is a great offensive line. You know, I'd say, hey, you know, I got faith that we're going to be able to pound it in.
Well, here's Tony Corretti. He's got the answer.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee had hit the ground as he was reaching for the goal line. The ball was short of the goal line. The ruling on the field stands. Pittsburgh will be charged with a timeout.
So not only do the Steelers use their last timeout on a challenge, they only have one challenge left in the game in case they want to use that one later on.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, Dick. You know, not having the timeouts in the first half is not as big an issue as only having one more challenge through the remainder of this ball game, and hopefully they won't have to, you know, you use another challenge, then you're done, and then you're just at the mercy of these officials that are calling them at the end in the last 2 minutes of the half.
And you know, guys, that may be something they look into by the competition committee to eliminate that, because why eliminate challenges when one is needed? We had so many games this year when teams were out of challenges. But after all of that, the 10th play of the drive coming up for the Steelers, who have a 1st and goal again at the 1-yard line, looking to take the lead. And it's Bettis, touchdown. Jerome Bettis with his 4th touchdown rushing of the year. The Steelers take a 6-3 lead.
And this is the same play they just ran on the play right before. They got kind of whistled. It's just a little misdirection. Look at the surge of the offensive line. John Whitman goes in, makes a good block. And Jerome Bettis, really, that's a tremendous job, because there was you don't usually see holes that big and that much room to run down that close.
Chris Brown for the extra point, and it is good. It hits the upright, the left upright, and goes over, and the kick is good. And did you see the look of power? He pointed to himself. I think he realized he made a mistake in making that challenge. But it doesn't matter. It all ends up all right for the Steelers, who take a 7-3 lead.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By PlayStation 2. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you, nothing's better, Dr. Pepper. And by DirecTV, the #1 satellite entertainment provider.
That's the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh, and that is the bus. Jerome Bettis, who capped a 10-play scoring drive with a 1-yard plunge to give the Steelers the lead. Now Nick Jaquette on the return, going wide, and Jaquette is going to be cut down short of the 20-yard line by Lindsey Jackson. So here is the extra point. Just listen to it by Chris Brown.
If you've got a big job, Labor Ready is the nation's leader in temporary labor and the first to offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you aren't completely satisfied with the work, call us within 2 hours and we'll take care of it, no questions. Just call 1-800-24-LABOR. You can find good help these days. Labor Ready, dependable temporary labor.
Steelers leading the Vikings early in the second quarter, 7-3. Great fans here following the Steelers, who have won 4 Super Bowls over the year. First year in this new stadium.
61 is announced.
They've announced Lewis Kelly, the tackle, as eligible, lining up as a tight end as we start. Vikings from the 18-yard line. Chamberlain in motion. Bennett is the setback, and the handoff is to Bennett. And Bennett is tackled from behind by Joey Porter, and a gain of 1.
Well, you go back to the key play in that last drive. It was Cordell Stewart's run. He pump fakes there to try to hold linebackers. He goes outside and is able to make the big run to get it down to the 1-yard line and set up that touchdown.
And Cordell Stewart, who has a quarterback coach, Tom Clements, he had one at Colorado in his senior year, and it has all been working for him, along with Mike Mularkey, the new offensive coordinator. But now the Steeler defense on the field, 2nd and 9. Crowd noise a factor. And there is the pass to Jake Reed, who makes a fine catch in traffic. Jake Reed with the reception at the 46-yard line, good for 27 yards, with Scott and Alexander defending.
Well, Jake Reed's out here by himself. He's a single receiver working against Chad Scott, and he's able to run a little bit of a fade route up inside of Chad Scott, and Dante Culpepper gets him the football. What allowed him to do that is they went to a 4-wide set, put 3 wide on the strong side, and matched up Reed and Scott one-on-one on the backside.
First down at the 46 of the Vikings. Steelers leading 7-3, and here is Bennett. Nowhere to go, and Bennett will be stopped for no gain. Earl Holmes on the play, along with Kendrell Bell. And now for a game break, let's check in with James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, let's take a look at some excellent special teams play by Tampa Bay. Cincinnati on the punt, blocked by Rondé Barber. Todd Yoder is there to take it in for the score, 10 yards to pay dirt, and it's 7-3 Bucks. 6:04 left in the first half of play. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darrell.
All right, JB. Tampa Bay now 5-5, trying to hang in there against the leaders, the Bears and the Packers. 2nd down and 10.
There's a single back here again with Reed.
Let's see if he looks that way. Instead, going to Chris Walsh underneath. And a gain of about 6 on the play with Holmes on the tackle. Well, the Vikings using a lot of different weapons today.
Well, and that's what they're going to have to do. They've tried to do some things earlier in the season, as we've mentioned, and they wanted Randy Moss and Chris Carter to be able to absorb the load for this offense, especially with a young running back and a young quarterback. But it hasn't worked out that way, so they're trying to still find their identity. They came in, they want to try to run the football, but also they're going to more personnel packages than what they've used in the past.
3rd and 5 at the Steeler 49. And the pump fake, and here's Chris Carter leaping on a jump ball, and he makes the catch. Chris Carter in a first down at the 27, a gain of 22 yards as he leaped and timed it with Chad Scott also in the neighborhood.
Well, Dante Culpepper, he's hobbled a little bit still with that knee, but you watch Culpepper, he signals out to Chris Carter. Chris Carter's one-on-one. You see Dante there on the left. He's going to come up, changing the routes, which tells Chris Carter to run the double move, and that's what they get. They throw it up and allow Chris Carter to go up for it.
First down at the 27, and the quick to Carter, and Carter diving forward, picking up about 5 or 6 yards on the play. Amazing what Culpepper is doing, knowing that he admitted he really couldn't run at all today. And the injured player on the field is Kendrick Clancy for the Steelers. And in a timeout, 6:27 to go in the first half. 7-3 Steelers.
It's new, a flame-grilled topped sirloin, marinated Cajun shrimp, and a great price, $8.99. Chili surf and sirloin. We're having some fun now.
Chili Southwestern egg rolls, where East meets Southwest.
Dante Culpepper, who has a sprained ligament in the left knee, hobbling to the line of scrimmage. Goose pointed out, slowed up on that last hit. 2nd and 4 on the Pittsburgh 21. Michael Bennett looking for an opening off the left side and gains 2 yards to just inside the 20. Porter on the play.
Well, you talk about this Pittsburgh defense and what they've been able to do, and there's so much discussion about the linebackers. And in talking with Bill Cowher yesterday, he says the guys who really make it happen for this defense is the secondary, and in particular the corners with Dwayne Washington and Chad Scott. And last week, Chad Scott he gave up some big plays in their ball game against Tennessee, but he also made some big plays. He returned the touchdown, which allowed them to win the ball game. He's getting some one-on-one matchups today. Right now, Minnesota Vikings are taking advantage of those matchups, but Chad Scott's going to keep battling.
8th play of the drive, 3rd down and 2. And here is Culpepper on the run and intended for Randy Moss and covered by Lee Flowers. And the 4th down coming up. And Gary Anderson will come on to try a field goal.
In that situation with the injury to Dante Culpepper, to me, a very interesting play call to move him out of the pocket and try and force some pressure on the perimeter. When he's healthy, yeah, that's a great play call because he can pull the ball down and maybe run for the 1st down. But right there, it's really a one-dimensional play where all he's going to be able to do is get it to a receiver if he can get open.
And it's very obvious watching him move around that knee is indeed bothering him.
Gary Anderson will attempt a 37-yard field goal, and Anderson's kick is no good. Just off to the left.
It's a game of inches.
And this one nicked the goalpost as well, but it didn't go over as it did for Chris Brown. Here it is. Lifted on the wrong side, and the Steelers maintain their 7-3 advantage. And Dante Culpepper, questionable as to whether he would play starting the game, but hobbling in the last series.
And you watch him at the end of this play. I don't think this is frustration about missing the conversion. I think this is a reaction to the pain that he's feeling in his knee. And right now, if you're going to keep Dante Culpepper in the football game, keep him in the pocket. That's the first time that he's come out of the pocket. I don't think you stay with that type of play this afternoon.
Well, and the other thing is that he's never had to play with a bad knee. You know, we were talking with him last night. He played last year with a bad ankle. He was able to work around that, but this is a completely different injury. And he was very concerned last night in talking with him as to how he was going to be able to drop back. He said where it affects him most is trying to plant and start running with the football.
So the Steelers, after the missed field goal by Gary Anderson, will have a 1st down on their 28-yard line. And there is Cordell Stewart, and he completes the pass to Plexico Burris. Well done by Stewart. And the gain of 24 brings the Steelers into Viking territory.
Now, this is a play that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been working on quite often. It's called the skinny post. Got him working up the field. Plexico Burris, and what Cordell Stewart is doing is he's doing a nice job of hitting his 5th step and getting rid of the football, and that's something that they've had a point of emphasis on him all season long.
These young receivers coming into their own for the Steelers, and the handoff is to Bettis, and he's tripped up by Robert Griffith, who came in from the strong safety position. No gain. Well, Fox Tuesday, music's biggest stars are on Fox. It's the 2001 Billboard Music Awards, live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Don't miss the music event of the year, that Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. 2nd down and 10 on the Viking 48. And here's Jerome Bettis with a move, and Bettis picking up about 6 yards. Willie Howard on the tackle, bringing up 3rd down and about 6.
Well, this has been the Vikings' predominant blitz. Kylie Wong is coming here. They're doing a little cross with Ed McDaniel, and the Pittsburgh Steelers all afternoon have done a good job of picking it up and getting some good running lanes. And when you're going to go to man coverage on the outside like they wanted to do defensively, that gives you the opportunity to pressure inside. The Steelers all afternoon up until this point, a nice job adjusting to that pressure.
3rd down and 6. Steelers 3 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. And there's the pass to the sideline, and making the catch is Plexico Burris on the throw behind him, and had the presence of mind to, despite losing his footing, hold on to the pass and pick up 20 yards. That's a spectacular play by Burris.
Well, you can just see the confidence growing with him over the last few weeks and what he's been able to do. And Cordell Stewart is gaining confidence in him as well. They throw what is called the fade stop on the backside, and Dale Carter has absolutely no chance on trying to defend that play. And you notice at the beginning of the play, they do some motioning and shifts to try to get the matchup that they want. They were able to get the one-on-one set with Plexico Burris working against Dale Carter.
1st down.
Watch for a direct snap right here.
And it goes to Hines Ward. No, it's Bettis. Bettis inside the 20-yard line. So Cordell Stewart going down the line, and a direct snap to Jerome Bettis. And a gain of 7 yards. There's more trickery.
And we had a little bit here. He was going to come out and talk to Hines Ward like something was wrong. And there goes your direct snap right to Jerome Bettis. And this is a little bit of that offense that Mike Mularkey likes to use. Not only does he put the gadget plays in, but these guys know he's going to call them.
I think that's called a bunch of malarkey, right?
This offense is just full of malarkey.
And it's working. Second down and 3. And here is Amos Zaraway diving forward for a Steeler first down to the 12-yard line. Howard on the tackle. And we're winding down to the 2-minute warning here in the first half as the Steelers lead 7-3. Here is Cordell talking to Hines. Hines may have wanted the snap. Instead, it went to Bettis.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by Citizen Eco Drive, a revolutionary watch that never needs a battery.
The Citizen Eco Drive. It never needs a battery because light recharges it. So, what will you do with your battery now that your watch doesn't need one?
And here comes Cordell Stewart. You watch him walk out. He's going to move this way like he's talking to Cordell Stewart. They're going to snap the ball directly to Jerome Bettis. Look at the Minnesota Vikings looking over there, trying to figure out what's going on. That's a nice little play right there. I like that one much better than the double reverse they used earlier.
Maybe more in Mike Mularkey's bag of tricks. Who knows? 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go in the half. First down, Steelers on the Viking 13. Here is the pump fake, and there's Slash trying to get loose, and he'll be hit by several Vikings. Back on the 14-yard line, led by Talance Sawyer and Dale Carter. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris will have the scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats. Well, the Minnesota Vikings, who did not score a touchdown last week against the Chicago Bears for the first time in 97 games, trailing 7-3 as the Steelers threaten on 2nd and 11. Dan Kreider in motion to the right. The backup fullback pass to the left, and it's incomplete, intended for Burris. And a flag is down back behind the line of scrimmage. It'll go against Pittsburgh. Game has been relatively penalty-free. Tony Correnti will explain.
Holding. Offense number 79. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
Well, that's Oliver Ross, your right guard. He's right here. It gets called for the holding, number 79, and he's got a pretty good grasp of him right there. Takedown move right there.
And that's Chris Hovan again, that guy. He'll get on that upfield shoulder in a heartbeat. He gets a wide set, and it's very difficult to stop him from getting his penetration.
Ross started his second game at right guard. Now it's 2nd and 21 for the Steelers. Here comes pressure on Cordell Stewart, trying to run away, and he is being dragged down by Talance Sawyer, and another flag is thrown with 1:10 remaining in the half.
Well, this has really been the downfall of this Pittsburgh Steelers offense once they've gotten into the red zone. They have either had turnovers or they have had penalties which have killed their chances of scoring touchdowns.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
Well, that was Jeff Hardings, the former Lion, who has been the center this year.
Well, they've got to watch out. Not only the fact that they might not get 7, but they're about to get out of Gary Anderson's field goal range right now, right? They're pushing themselves back pretty far. You see right there, the worst in the NFL in TD percentage. And Chris Brown, I'm sorry, the kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're one more penalty or one bad play, they could be punting.
It'll be 2nd and 31 now, back at the 34-yard line. Bobby Shaw in motion, and again, pressure up the middle. And the pass is caught by Truman, and the tight end is tripped up by Talance Sawyer after a gain of 12 yards. They're at the 22-yard line. The Vikings do not have any timeout, or the Steelers have no timeouts left, using that last one on a challenge they didn't really need to make. 45 seconds to go in the first half. And now the Vikings will call a timeout. First timeout by Minnesota. We'll be back.
Hey, boy.
Here's how the Steelers used their 3 timeouts, twice on the play clock, and then a replay challenge that Bill Cowher, in essence, admitted he shouldn't have made when Cordell Stewart's knee went down at the 1. They scored anyway on the next play. So Pittsburgh out of timeouts. Minnesota using their first with 42 seconds to go, and 3rd and 19 coming up from the 22.
Yeah, poor management there. I would think on this play here, Dick, that they're going to do something conservative to get themselves a little bit closer for the field goal attempt.
Pressure on Stewart. He gets rid of it, and the pass is dropped by Plexico Burress. That was inside the 10-yard line. It would have been a chip shot for Chris Brown, but he'll come in to try a 3-pointer anyway.
Well, so much for conservative. They went ahead and threw it on the outside, but even if he catches this ball, he's not going to be able to pick up the first down. But he would have been, as you mentioned, Dick, closer for the field goal attempt.
You mentioned the penalties and the turnovers. Another thing that Mike Mularkey was disappointed in were the drops in the red zone that the wide receivers were having in the passing game.
So Chris Brown, who is just over 500 at home, he's had his problems with a 40-yard field goal attempt that misses. So they're the Steelers who try to get into field goal range, and Chris Brown, who had his struggles against the Baltimore Ravens, you remember, missing 4 out of 5, including the game tying, misses this one from 40.
Well, and you can see the frustration on Bill Cowher's face. You get down in here in this position, and you have to be able to come away with points. And it's very demoralizing for a football team, an offensive group, when you get down there and are in a position with a very makeable field goal, and you come away with no points.
And this drive started after Gary Anderson missed for the Minnesota Vikings. You can see where this one that scraped the upright as well. Very
He's going to call it back there.
So now 31 seconds remaining in the half. First down from the 30. Culpepper on an out to Jake Reed, out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 37.
Well, you still see Dante Culpepper moving around very gingerly. He's getting the ball from center in the shotgun formation, and you just wonder how much that knee is really bothering him.
There's the red zone woes that you pointed out that the Steelers have experienced, and the missed field goal adding to that. Meanwhile, the Vikings with a 2nd down and 2 on their 38-yard line in the final seconds of the half. Here is the pass intended for Chris Carter. Unable to get to it, and a flag comes down from upfield. A penalty marker and the preliminary signal against the Vikings. Let's see if one of the Viking receivers pushed off.
Pass interference, offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
And it was against Chris Carter.
Well, here's a look at it here, right, working against Lee Flowers, the safety, and you know, I don't know about that one. Chris Carter will have a tendency to push off to get some separation, but I don't think he did anything wrong there.
So 22 seconds on the clock, 2nd down and 12 on the 28. And over the middle, the pass caught by Harold Morrow, his first play of the game. He's stopped at the 34 by Jason Gilden. And the clock stopping with 13 seconds to go in the half as the Vikings use their 2nd timeout.
Take a look at Dante Culpepper right here as he drops in Troy. He's very, very tentative in his back pedal.
Yeah, he's moving out of there very, very gingerly, and you can tell that knee's bothering him. Not only the way he's dropping back, but also you see there's no follow-through with the way that he's throwing the ball, and that has got to be playing on his mind. He's been a little bit erratic with some throws, and I think it's definitely attributed to that knee.
Numbers aren't bad, but the Vikings only have 3 on the board. 3rd down and 5 with 14 seconds remaining in the half. Minnesota with 1 timeout left. And again, here's Culpepper, and the pass, and it really was into the hands of Earl Holmes. Talk about a linebacker who had a pick. couldn't get a better chance than that one.
Yeah, and, you know, Earl Holmes missed out on a gift right there. Here's another look at Dante dropping back, and I'm not understanding exactly why they're in this offense trying to move the football if they're not going to be able to try to take some shots down the field. With 8 seconds left in the game, or left in the half, you're not doing much to provide yourself an opportunity to move the chains, and it looks to me like Dante's in a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort.
And you remember Todd Bauman waiting in the wings, took most of the snaps in practice this week. 8 seconds left. The Vikings, their 3rd timeout.
Japanese are expecting a war.
Hostilities imminent.
We'll have no shield against invasion.
On December 4th, history comes alive.
We have to strike in the heart of Japan, the way they have hit us.
Wow! Pearl Harbor. Own it on DVD and video December 4th.
A hurting Dante Culpepper over on the sideline. The Vikings using their last timeout prior to Mitch Berger coming on to punt. And Bill Cowher's Steelers leading tenuously at this point, 7-3. Each team has missed a field goal. Jerome Bettis with the only touchdown in the game. So on 4th down, here is Berger's kick. And Hank Poteet is back. He'll let it bounce as the clock runs out. And that is the end of the first half. With the score, the Steelers 7 and the Vikings 3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
It's the 2000.
Steelers lead the Vikings 7-3, and right now let's go down to the field. Pam Oliver with Steelers head coach Bill Cowher.
Thanks, Dick. Bill, you talked about sucking the life out of this team. You don't want them hanging around, but so far that hasn't worked. What do you do in the second half?
Well, now we're involved in a close football game, and this is something we've thrived on all year. So, you know, the one thing I don't want us to do is get tight and start worrying about making mistakes. We got to where we are today by guys going out there, not worrying, trusting things, taking chances. And that's how we got to play this half. Play loose and expect to win.
All right, Bill, thanks a lot. As for Dennis Green, he said he's fairly pleased with the play of the defense. Offensively, he's going to keep it conservative. He wants to keep those guys off of his injured quarterback. Dick?
All right, Pam, thank you very much. Interesting. No complaints about that defense. The Vikings playing very well. But what about Culpepper, who's been hobbling around?
Well, I think that's the big thing right now. I think it's noticeable that the knee is, in fact, bothering him based on the comments that Dennis Green just made. It sounds like he's going to continue to play and come out in the second half and start this game. How much that's affected him and what he's able to do. He did throw the ball well in that first half.
His numbers were good. He had a good percentage. Threw for over 100 yards, but only 3 points. So what does it come down to is it is a close second half coming up.
Well, and that's the thing that Bill Cowher talked about. And his team has performed very well in the close games this year. They've really, almost every game this season, have been involved in a game that's gone into the fourth quarter. They have experience here, but I know this is not the type of game he wanted to be in this afternoon.
Not at all, as you see Culpepper coming back onto the field. And let's take a look at the halftime statistics.
Well, you can see that it's really a pretty evenly matched ball game, just looking at it statistically, and that's the way that it's been played out here on the field. There's, you know, you talked about Pittsburgh wanting to come out and suck the life out of this football team, the Minnesota Vikings, in the first half. They were unable to do that, and now it's a very close ball game, as Bill Cowher said. And in these kind of games, there's going to be 1 or 2, 3 plays in the course of this second half that are going to really determine the outcome of this, and who's able to make those plays is going to be able to win the game.
Well, this is the first time since Denny Green has taken over as head coach that the Vikings, after 10 games, do have a losing record at 4-6. This club has been right there, and you could see that, you know, first 10 games, 416 rushing yards. He's not going to be a rushing threat today, but Minnesota is playing a lot better than a lot of people thought they would.
Well, and this is one of the guys, Dante Culpepper, and his ability to scramble and make things happen when plays break down, that has enabled them to win some football games this year. And if he's unable to do that, like is the case today, it really affects the offense. And we've seen that, and I really wonder if they can get the ball downfield vertically, because I don't know, when he shifts and transfers that weight, that's when he told us it hurts. when that left leg is planted down and he starts to escape or accelerate. I think it's going to be very similar to when he wants to transfer and throw the ball downfield. I think they're going to have to stay with a short, controlled passing game.
There you see Randy Moss with only 1 catch, and Chris Carter has 3.
Well, and I think that's going to be a big thing. I know we said coming into the game that the Vikings wanted to run the football. That's something that they've not been able to do. We mentioned it. Dante Culpepper is, in fact, their leading rusher. When he's hobbled and not playing at full strength, that takes a big part of the running game out of their offense. The other 2 guys, Bennett and Chapman, have not been able to carry the load in the first half. I think you're going to have to see Randy Moss again and Chris Carter pick up the slack here in the second half and make some plays.
The Vikings will get the ball first to start the second half. Vikings having dropped 3 of their last 4 games. That's Nate Jacquet, who is back deep, ready to receive Chris Brown's kick. Vikings starting a run. In fact, in their final 6 games, will play AFC Central teams in 4 of those 6 games. Second half is underway, and Nate Jacquet at the 6-yard line, returning for Minnesota. And he carries it out close to the 30. Culpepper, 10 of 14, 108 yards. Michael Bennett leading, averaging 3.1 yards per carry. And as we mentioned, Carter, the leading receiver, at 3 catches for 31 yards. 7 different receivers have caught passes from Dante Culpepper. Vikings beginning from the 29. So Minnesota has not scored a touchdown in a game and a half. Strange for them. 2 tight ends with Chamberlain and Andrew Jordan. And this will be the handoff to Bennett. And Bennett will be stopped by Earl Holmes from behind the line of scrimmage, and a loss of 2.
Well, they come out with a 2 tight end package. Again, they want to try to establish the running game early in this second half. And this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is just too quick. They're extremely quick, extremely physical, and they just do a great job of penetrating and getting that penetration in the backfield of the Minnesota Vikings. And when that happens, you have no chance to be able to run the football.
Steelers with 38 rushing defensive yards, leading the NFL, and the Vikings are not a big offensive line. Second down and 12. Culpepper back to throw with the short drop, completes to Morrow, and the fullback gets driven out of bounds close to the first down, maybe just shy.
And again, this is what this passing attack for the Minnesota Vikings is going to be this afternoon. And I just really feel that the injury is going to prevent Dante from getting this ball down the field into the hands of Randy Moss and Chris Carter, you know, beyond 20 yards. You're going to see it to the tight ends. You're going to see it to the running backs. And even when Chris and Randy are going to be able to be involved in the passing game, I think it's going to have to be short, maybe an intermediate route, but nothing down the field like this offense is known to do.
Yeah, and the more that they go 2 tight ends, one of those receivers has to come out of the ball game. And so Moss is not getting the opportunities that he would normally get either.
Travis Trent is into the game, and he is knocked back by Earl Holmes. So the Vikings cannot muster a running game as much as they try, and that will bring up third down and about a yard.
Well, watch Byron Chamberlain right here. I think this is a wham play where he's supposed to come in, but he gets the timing wrong. You'll see he starts to turn to come in, and he's too late. He's missed the snap, and there's Earl Holmes coming to attack the hole. So a little trouble with the cadence right there. I don't think Byron was able to get back inside.
Nothing like not getting the wham and turning Earl Holmes loose in the hole.
So Mitch Berger punting on fourth down, and back deep is Troy Edwards. Edwards backing up to the 11-yard line. There's a penalty flag down, and Edwards down the sideline gets knocked out of bounds by Morrow at the 40, but there is a flag, and it's back upfield at the 35.
And how about...
It'll be against Minnesota, an ineligible man downfield.
Ineligible member of the King team downfield prior to the punt, number 31. The penalty is declined. First down.
Pittsburgh leading, getting the ball back early here in the third.
Every year at this time, folks at Southwest Airlines get together to cook dinner at the Ronald McDonald House.
Request clearance for landing.
It's a special home where families can stay while their seriously ill children undergo treatment at a nearby hospital. The Ronald McDonald Houses are Southwest Airlines' primary charity. Thanks to your support, these children receive a special gift every day of the year, a gift of hope. From our families to yours, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Herb.
And a Merry Christmas to you, too.
This holiday from Honda, we've gone all out on gifts that go. We've rolled back MSRP's $200 on our smallest XRs, CR80s, and smallest Sport Tracks. On our bigger XRs, we've added bonus bucks, $200 towards merchandise. And on all XRs and CRs, there's no payment and no interest for 3 months, and no down payment with the Honda card. Gifts that go, going all out for the holidays.
Santa.
Looking to save a little time this holiday season?
Then go to BestBuy.com. You can find great gift ideas online. Then when you come to the store, you'll know just what to get. Best Buy. This holiday, turn on the fun.
Fox NFL Sunday. Brought to you by Best Buy. Give the gifts they really want. Best Buy. This holiday, turn on the fun.
The new stadium here in Pittsburgh, and a chance to see the skyline of the three rivers, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, the confluence of the Ohio River on a beautiful December Sunday. Best starting field position for the Steelers. They're 39, and Jerome Bettis getting the call. Bettis picking up 56 yards rushing and a touchdown in the first half. Gets 6 yards before McDaniel and Hovan bring him down.
And again, I think Cordell Stewart's success in this second half will be based on how well they run the football, and he really seems to play much better when that running game is going well. I think the Minnesota Vikings did a nice job in the first half bringing some pressure and slowing this game down. Only that one big run by Jerome Bettis that kind of hurt him.
The interception thrown by Stewart to Griffith set up the only Viking score, a field goal by Anderson. On 2nd down and 4, here is Bettis again, diving forward close to midfield, and very nearly enough for the first down. It'll be within a half a yard or so.
Well, this offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers just doing really an outstanding job of moving out this front for the Minnesota Vikings. And this offensive line for Pittsburgh is arguably the best offensive line in football. You talk to a lot of different people around the league, and they'll tell you as much. And these guys are really doing a nice job. They've had to shuffle a few players around. They got Oliver Ross today playing at right guard. Marvell Smith is banged up, but you wouldn't know it by the way that they came out here and played today.
3rd down and 1. From the 48, and here is Bettis. First down. Flag is down as he bulls his way into Viking territory where Griffith and Tyrone Carter are there. And this penalty will be a holding call against the Steelers, nullifying the first down. Steelers looking to start the season at 9-2 for the first time since the 1983 season.
Holding, offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 3rd down.
Wayne Gandy, the left tackle.
And he's going to be right at the point of attack. You see Wayne right there as he comes in on Ed McDaniel, gets a handful. Once those hands get outside and get around the back, you're going to get a flag thrown on you.
They got wrapped up pretty good there.
So after the penalty, a 3rd down and 11 from the 38. 3 wide receivers, and Stewart out of the shotgun. Vikings get back defensively, and here is Cordell Stewart. The pass is tipped, and a flag goes down. It was tipped by Lance Johnstone, and another flag is thrown. This time it'll be holding against the Vikings.
Yeah, but the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Right. Robert Griffith putting his 2 cents in.
Yeah, I think once it got tipped at the line of scrimmage, then there can't be pass interference on the defense.
But I think the initial signal was for defensive holding, and I think that stands even if the ball is tipped.
If that came at the line, it would.
During the receiver's route, prior to the pass being thrown, holding, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yep. You know, right there, a tip ball doesn't matter on a hold, and the other thing is that the hold took place prior to the ball being released by Cordell Stewart. It happened before the ball was thrown.
So Robert Griffith, who has had a solid day today, and the Vikings welcoming back. This is his third game after breaking a leg. So it'll be a first down at the 44 of the Steelers. Here's Jerome Bettis, and he slips on his own accord after picking up about 4 yards.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not trying to hide what they're doing. You see right there, they got 4 guys out to this side on the line of scrimmage, and then they motion the fullback over together and pull Alan Faneca. So, hey, we're coming right. We're telling you we're coming right. Let's see if you can stop us.
Kylie Wong did get a hand on Bettis to force him to be tripped up, bringing up 2nd down and 5. Steelers with a big edge in the total yardage, and here is Amos Zeraway, and he is gang tackled at midfield with a group led by the rookie Eric Kelly.
Well, this is an area that the Minnesota Vikings have had problems with, is stopping the running game in the games that they've played. And right now you can see that Pittsburgh is definitely making an attempt to run the football against them. They're pretty much committed to that, and they've had success doing it.
Under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's been a very quiet crowd here in the second half for a close game, 7-3. They're ready to explode. 3rd down and 3 at midfield. And here is Stewart, and the pass is caught by Hines Ward. Another penalty flag down as Cordell Stewart thread the needle, and Hines Ward with a 19-yard pickup. Robert Griffith bringing him down, but a penalty back on the 40-yard line of the Vikings.
Holding, defense number 20. The penalty is declined. First down.
Kenny Wright, the cornerback, was holding here.
Well, you see Hines Ward in motion. He's going to come up, work up the field, and run a slant route. He's able to get Kenny Wright's hips turned and gets inside, and Cordell Stewart just throws a strike in there. And that's what happens when they run the ball 1st and 2nd down. They keep it in 3rd and short. It allows Cordell Stewart a lot of freedom and a lot of different options to throw the football, and a nice delivery there.
So the Steelers get a first down on the Vikings 31-yard line. Bettis is back in, and this pass is thrown and caught on a slant by Plexico Burris. Good rhythm. Cordell Stewart in terrific rhythm right now, and that is close to yet another first down.
Well, they want to get Cordell Stewart thrown in time, and you take a look at Plexico Burris coming off the line, and the ball is coming out before he even makes his break. Plexico Burris dropped that same pass earlier in the ball game. He makes the catch there, and his development has been very key in the success of this offense in the last 3 weeks.
And a lot of that attributed to the fact that they're not having to make adjustments at the top of the route. Mike Mularkey took those plays out and built it around the strengths of this group, and they've really improved this season in their pass routes.
Here's Jerome Bettis getting an opening and driving his way down to the 11-yard line. Kelly and Carter on the tackle, and the Pittsburgh Steelers can punish you so many ways, and it'll be first down, close to it, maybe shy by a yard.
And again, this is their bread and butter play in the run game. It all starts with Jeremy Truman, but look where the play goes this time. Jerome Bettis can move it around anywhere he wants to.
Yeah, and you take a look again at Hines Ward. We've shown him earlier in the game. He takes out Robert Griffith, their big hitter, and that's what sprung Jerome Bettis up inside.
2nd down and a long 2, and here is Bettis, and he is stopped behind the line by Stalin Colonnay, one of the starters who was not with the Minnesota Vikings in the starting lineup when the season began. They've had 6 new starters on that group since the opener.
You know, you talk about what Pittsburgh is doing offensively, and Cordell Stewart and the fact that they were able to come out and convert the third down and then get the first down completion, you take a look at Mike Malarkey, the offensive coordinator, who's put all this together and has created an environment for Cordell Stewart to allow him to flourish. Him along with Jerome Bettis and these other receivers, and by them having the confidence in Cordell Stewart to throw some of those intermediate passes down here, you can see what it's done to the running game with Jerome Bettis.
Third down and 2 from the 12-yard line, and here is the give to Troy Edwards, and Edwards driving inside the 10 and going in it. Touchdown Steelers.
We got another gadget play from Mike Malarkey. This one does an inside handoff on the reverse, but Troy Edwards does an outstanding job of seeing the pursuit come from the inside out. Right at the end of this run right here. Here he comes. Look at him, see him plant, stop, get back inside. That is tremendous vision to see that pursuit coming from the inside.
Chris Brown with the extra point, and this one nowhere near the uprights. The kick is good, and the Steelers take a 14-3 lead. Troy Edwards, first career rushing touchdown, goes around on an end around from 12 yards out to pay dirt.
Getting the folks at Ask Jeeves to test the Norelco Quadra Action Razor should be easy. Hey, they're smart, right?
Will I get a close shave? Signs point to no. This thing's gonna chew up my face.
But thanks to slots for longer hair and holes for short stubble, they got a close shave without the nicks and cuts of a blade.
It's only been a few days, but I'm liking it.
They especially loved how easy it was to clean.
It needed a quick bath.
The Quadra Action has satisfied 99% of the guys who tried it. Except no imitations. Get America's #1 selling electric shaver, Norelco.
Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filter. For when you feel the heat. Get refreshment down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
This is Santa's Workshop 2001. Billions of wish lists come in from around the world, and UPS helps us navigate supply chain management issues. Oh, coal comes in for the Balkans for the naughty. Boy band figurines come in from Japan for the nice. Think about the logistics on that one. We have been a successful brand for centuries now, and for a number of years, UPS has been an invaluable partner. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and he's working with UPS.
The secret is out. Titus has a sister. Shannon always wins. I have to go to emergency.
Shut up, your sister's talking.
All new, a special time at 8 Fox Wednesday.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Troy Edwards, who had his career best in kickoff returns last week at Tennessee, his 28-yard punt return set up the 9 plays, 61-yard scoring drive, capped by Edwards, 12-yard end-around run. Now Nate Jacquet for the Vikings on the kickoff return. Jacquet gets away from the pack, and Jacquet loses the ball, and the Steelers get it back.
Troy Edwards again makes the strip.
Byron Bell recovers. Troy Edwards made it happen.
He's on a roll right now. Somebody just keep giving him the ball. What a great job. A guy whose role has changed. Look at the hustle. He gets caught inside a little bit, chases him down, and strips Nate Jacquet.
Well, that's just a great play by Troy Edwards, and you talk about how his role has changed. He really wanted to make his impact as a wide receiver. We saw the return that he made to set up the last series. He scores a touchdown. Here he comes in and he causes the fumble. He's just been a complete player for this football team and understands his role very well.
And making the most of it today. First down at the 47 of the Vikings. The Steelers getting it back, and here is Jerome Bettis. And Bettis picking up a yard, but that pounding takes its toll against other defenses.
It really begins to wear you down, especially when the Pittsburgh Steelers, who you know are going to run the ball, they're really coming out and just dictating to this Minnesota defense, you know, what they want to do. And they've played very well up until this point, but they're going to be on the field for quite a bit now. They just came off on a long drive. They have the sudden change with the fumble on the kickoff return. this offense from Minnesota has to get back on the field and give these guys a rest because they're not going to be able to last this afternoon.
Former #1 pick, Troy Edwards. A host of impressive young wide receivers for the Steelers. They go with 2 tight ends on 2nd down and 10. And there is Cordell Stewart, and the pass caught by Plexico Burress. Burress now has caught 6 passes. That'll be shy of the first down by a yard. Dale Carter on the coverage.
Boy, watch the line that the offense, or the job the offensive line does right here. They bring the blitz. They got linebackers coming up inside off of play action. And it gives a lane for Cordell Stewart to get the ball outside to Plexico Burress, working again against Dale Carter, getting rather physical with him. You saw the hands extend a little bit, but nice job by Plexico Burress.
6 catches for 86 yards for Burress today. 3rd down and 1. At the 39 of Minnesota. Ouch. And Kylie Wong stuffing Cordell Stewart, who tried the quarterback sneak.
Well, and the thing is that
4th down.
If you're going to run a quarterback sneak, you can't hesitate like that in the hole and expect to pick up a yard if that's what you need. And right there, Cordell Stewart, he paused just long enough. You take a look, he'll hold it just long enough to allow Kylie Wong to scrape off of Oliver Ross and stop him for no gain.
What a great job by Kylie Wong, not assuming that he's just going to come straight ahead on the quarterback sneak and not commit, be able to loop around and get Cordell as he tried to break outside.
So the Steelers, who are 50% on 4th down conversions, need a yard. And there is the pitch to the bus. First down. Crowd erupts as Jerome Bettis getting 4 yards for the first down at the 34-yard line of the Vikings.
You know, and you wouldn't normally think with a back his size is going to run wide to pick up a 4th and 1 situation, but that's exactly what they do, and they're able to do it because, as you can see, Jerome Bettis has great feet, great lateral movement, and obviously great power and explosion. And you know, you look at what he's been able to do over the course of his career, and he's a guy who seems to rather go unnoticed when you talk about the top backs in the league. He, without question, is one of the top running backs in National Football League.
And giving the Steelers a hefty advantage in ball control. And on this first down play, he's knocked back for a 2-yard loss by Willie Howard. And in case you're wondering, had the Steelers thought about going for 3, it would have been a 53-yarder for Chris Brown. But now they face 2nd and long.
Well, I think to go back to Jerome Bettis, and when you talk with him, you know, there's nothing real flashy about Jerome Bettis, about his style. You know, he's a perfect running back for this city. You know, that really appreciates the blue-collar, hard-working guy, and that's exactly what he is. And he understands his contributions and what he's been able to do, even though at times it seems that his peers don't.
2nd and 13, and the big rush on Cordell Stewart. The pass caught by Hines Ward. Very tough receiver. Hines Ward got about 9 more yards than he should have on that play. That's how tough he is. He gets 11 all told.
Well, a couple things on this play right here. Number 1, Cordell Stewart hanging in and being able to get this ball out in the face of adversity. Chris Hovan comes free, stays in, gets it out to Hines Ward. Now watch the patience that Hines Ward has and the confidence that Matt Cushing is going to be able to come over and get that block. That play looked like it was going to blow up in their face, end up getting 9 yards out of it.
So it'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Steelers, who lead 14-3. Out yardage 86-7 here for the Steelers in the corner. Here is Bettis, and he is tackled by Lemansky Hall, but he's got enough for the first down as we check in now with Pam Oliver. Pam.
All right, Dick, Jerome Bettis, known for doing great things in the community, has won a brand new fan. His name is Brandon Butler, a high school player who was injured in a football game. He's now a paraplegic. Bettis met with him before the game, promised him he would score him a touchdown. I have the ball right here for his brand new fan, Brandon Butler. Back to you.
Thank you, Pam. Good story, and nothing like fulfilling the promise.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me about him at all. He does a tremendous amount of work for the community here in Pittsburgh.
First down at the 22-yard line, and the first back through is John Whitman. And getting to the point you made before about Jerome Bettis not always being appreciated, that's why he befriended Cordell Stewart, who knew what it was like to be in that same situation at a low point. And I think that Bettis was a big aid to Stewart in emerging in his own right.
I don't think there's any question. I think that Jerome Bettis really showed his own leadership abilities with his football team when he was able to go to Cordell Stewart, talk to him, and reassure him that things were going to be just fine. And Cordell obviously has had a tough couple of years. He's rebounded, finished up strong last year in 2000, and obviously he's been playing very well this year.
Ninth play of the drive, second down and 8. And the pass to Jerome Bettis on the screen. Bettis to the 10, trying to drag the defender, and he does to the 4. Tyrone Carter hanging on for dear life, and Bettis out of bounds after getting 16 yards, most of it the run.
Well, I tell you what, they're able to run the inside middle screen to the bus, and he gets ahead of steam. You see Cordell just dumping it off to Bettis inside. He gets ahead of steam. You see Tyrone Carter right there. I don't know how frightening that can be for a defensive back of Tyrone Carter's size, knowing that you got to try to bring down Jerome Bettis one-on-one in the open field. He went for a little bit of ride on the bus.
Yeah, and literally run over by the bus. First and goal at the 4. Amos Zaraway in, and Zaraway going wide will walk in for the touchdown. 4-yard touchdown run, and the Steelers, you mentioned it, maybe arguably the best offensive line in the league, paving the way.
Well, they're just doing a great job, and they're playing with a lot of confidence, and it's...
And here it is again. It's the 4 guys to the one side. They bring the fullback in motion. Right here, look at that. There's your Dale Carter gets caught up inside with the block by John Whitman. He's got to keep his outside shoulder free and not let Amos Zaraway get around the outside.
Chris Brown for the extra point. It's good. And so the Steelers have outscored the Vikings 14-0 here in the third quarter to open up a 21-3 lead.
For everything she means to you, and everything she ever will, the 3-stone necklace for your past, present, and future. A diamond is forever.
And you thought all we put in there was titanium. Energizer E² with titanium technology. Do you have the bunny inside?
Why do I rent from Enterprise? For more cargo room. More people room. Or more headroom. Enterprise. So easy, it's like having a second car. Or third.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Fox tonight. Can Homer help old man Burns find a younger woman?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Great heavens, it's one of those nude female fire stations. Julia Louis-Dreyfus guest stars. The Simpsons, all new 8/7 Central tonight on Fox.
Yeah.
And here is Jerome Bettis being tended to on the bench.
Yeah, the bus is over on the sidelines for a little tune-up, and you know, he's very tired. He carried the load there on that last series, but I think he's just fine.
Chris Brown kicking off Nate Jacquet, who was stripped the last time he returned, holds on and goes out of bounds. So Amos Zaraway, who had his first career touchdown last week, gets the first rushing score today.
Presenting the first
women's bobsled event in Olympic history.
This happens in competition. He's toast.
And while they'll do whatever it takes to win, all it takes to see it is your Visa card, the only card accepted at the Salt Lake 2002 Olympic Winter Games.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL, an official airline of Super Bowl 36. By A Diamond is Forever, show her how much you love her this Christmas. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by Nike.
Well, there's Amos Zaraway scoring his first 2 NFL touchdowns. May get more work because a bruised left hip for Jerome Bettis makes him questionable for his return. Vikings with a first down on the 30-yard line. Dante Culpepper remains the quarterback, and this time going to Randy Moss, makes the reception, and is brought down finally at the 49 of the Steelers by Brent Alexander.
Well, that's just what this offense is going to have to do right now, because you're down 14, but they're going to need big plays, and Randy Moss is the guy that they have to go to. They find the little area right there between the zones, and Dante does a nice job of fitting in a tight fit right there.
Second catch of the game by Randy Moss. And the time will run out, ending the third quarter. With the score, the Steelers 21 and the Vikings 3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Every second, 1,000 decisions. Do you go for style, or do you go for speed? That's your decision, love. Do you bet it all, or better not? Again, your call, mate. Power slide, or play it safe? Champ or chump, tough guy? It all depends. What's driving you? Project Gotham Racing, rated E for everyone.
Plastic is anything we ask it to be. On the job, it's our helping hand. For safety's sake in our working lives, and forever evolving before our eyes. It's in the airbag that protects us, and a cell phone to connect us. An answer when we need it most. Plastic carries our hopes, letting us all look forward to a safer, more brilliant tomorrow. Plastics make it possible.
No one knows exactly how man discovered fire. Whether it was lightning hitting a tree or rubbing 2 sticks together. But we do know that 10 minutes later, he discovered meat. The new menu at Damon's. That's hot, baby. The grill is on.
NFL Sunday Ticket is brought to you in part by Damon's. The grill is on.
Start of the fourth quarter, the Steelers with 21 unanswered points, leading the Vikings 21-3. And Minnesota and the Pittsburgh 49 after the reception by Randy Moss. Doug Chapman is the blocking back for Culpepper, and Culpepper's pass is intercepted. The center fielder, Brent Alexander, on the return. And Alexander will go down at the 38-yard line. So Dante Culpepper, he's a gamer today, playing when a lot of people didn't think he'd even perform, and a flag is down
holding
after the play.
Offense, number 62. The penalty is declined. First down.
Holding on the left tackle Everett Lindsey of the Vikings is declined. And the Steelers get it back with the ball and a 21-3 lead.
Over the years, I've learned that when something works, you stick with it. There you go. After bypass surgery a few years ago, I needed to lower my cholesterol. My doctor told me about Zocor. He said Zocor, along with a healthy diet and exercise, could really lower my cholesterol. Okay, let's do it again. Taking Zocor every day has kept my cholesterol where it should be and significantly reduces the risk of heart attack among people with high cholesterol and heart disease. That's something to feel good about.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience and about any medicines you are taking.
Good job! When diet and exercise aren't enough, ask your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
So you're a sports fan considering DirecTV? Consider this. Buy a DirecTV system from Blockbuster, and you'll get more than free professional installation, more than great DirecTV sports coverage. In fact, now you'll get much, much more. Get free game and movie rentals for a year when you buy a DirecTV system at Blockbuster. When you think sports, think Blockbuster. Bringing entertainment home.
Eddie George of the Tennessee Titans, working to help the United Way build stronger communities.
Well, here's a look at that last play, and you're going to see why the ball sailed on Dante Culpepper when he threw it over the middle. He's moving out. He's unable to follow through and put any kind of pressure on that left knee, and anytime you're unable to get through with your throws, you're going to have a tendency to throw the ball high, and that's exactly what happened on that last play.
So after the interception by Alexander, the Steelers first down on their 39, and the give is to Fuamatu Mafala into the game. So first carry for Chris Fuamatu Mafala. Dale Carter making the tackle after a gain of 7.
And you see what a terrible third quarter it was for the Minnesota Vikings, just dominated by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the big thing in here is they controlled this because they had him in 3rd and 11, had a defensive holding to continue a drive. They turn around and fumble the kickoff after that touchdown, and the team that wanted to come in and run the football and control the clock against the Steelers football team did not happen in that quarter.
2nd down and 3, and the handoff to Fuamatu Mafala, and he is short by a yard of the first down. Kylie Wong making the tackle. This is a critical time for the Vikings, who have had a lot of games that were out of reach into the 3rd and 4th quarters. You look at Todd Bauman, who might have started today.
And this is the frustration that you'll see in Dante Culpepper right here. And I really feel that they left him in too long. You could tell all game long that knee was really bothering him. Troy mentioned it on the follow-through. The ball kind of sails for the interception. I just don't think he was placed in a position to be successful today.
3rd down and 1, and tripped up, and no gain on the play for Fuamatu Mafala. Lemansky Hall on the play. And the point I was going to make about the Vikings, who were beaten badly by the Eagles, is can they stay in a game? And a lot of people have thought that maybe some of the heart went out of the Minnesota Vikings on some of their big losses, and so they'll have a chance to show something here in this 4th quarter, even though they're down by a large margin.
Well, I think a lot of the heart went out of this football team for the Minnesota Vikings last week when they lost to the Chicago Bears. And they're a team that has really struggled when they've been faced with adversity and they've been down in games.
Josh Miller's kick and the fair catch, called for by Nate Jacquet at the 15-yard line. Well, the Vikings trailing 21-3. And Todd Bauman appears to be getting the call.
Look at this workmanship. Could make a lot of lira selling these in New York. Yeah, look at these prices. These guys don't know what they got. They're clueless. Try asking the old guy if he can handle a production of 10,000 of these.
No problem, Senora.
What's it say? They have 2 million units warehoused in New Jersey. New Jersey?
New Jersey. New Jersey.
The right infrastructure can take your business anywhere, even New Jersey.
Bye-bye.
Adolphus Busch started making Budweiser 125 years ago.
We purposely brewed Budweiser as a smooth, refreshing, premium lager. 5 generations later, we couldn't be more proud to be America's favorite beer.
Let me pour one.
This Bud's for you. And you and you and you. This Bud's for you. And you and you and you. This Bud's for you. They're mine! They're mine! They're mine! I say all 4 are mine!
Now, when you buy a Whopper value meal at Burger King, get a Lord of the Rings light-up glass goblet, just $1.99 each. Collect all 4.
They're mine!
Guys, collect all 4. That doesn't mean there's only 4. There's plenty. Oh. But supplies are limited.
They're mine!
The adventure begins here.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Burger King, home of the Whopper. By IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by K Jewelers. This holiday season, shop K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
The Steelers leading 21-3, and Dante Culpepper will sit the rest of this out. And Todd Bauman, who has played briefly in the 4th quarter this year against Tampa Bay. Those are his numbers in Week 7. First down, and Bauman pass out to Randy Moss, and a loss of a yard and a half on the play. So we're getting a look at Todd Bauman from St. Cloud State in Minnesota.
Yeah, St. Cloud State, and he came here to the Vikings, and he actually was sent over and played in NFL Europe. In fact, I did one of his games over there when he was playing with Barcelona, and played very well there. And this year, the Vikings had to make a decision as to whether or not to allow him to be the number 2 quarterback or re-sign Bubby Brister, and they had enough confidence in his ability that he is the number 2 guy.
Second down and 11 from the 14-yard line, and the pass to Byron Chamberlain, who makes a one-handed grab and is out of bounds at the 21 by Scott and Holmes. He is 29 years old. This is his 4th year.
Yeah, and he's a guy who he throws a really good ball. He's a very accurate passer. He doesn't move nearly as well as a guy like Dante Culpepper, and when you see him start sliding around in the pocket, he's going to be a guy, unlike Dante, that looks to run. Todd Bauman looks to throw the football. But a guy that's very competitive, has a very good knowledge of this offense. Nothing will change with what they're trying to do right now in the game.
3rd and 3 from the 22. They spread out with an empty backfield, and the pass is tipped and caught by Randy Moss. And Moss is out of bounds. So on a deflection by Joey Porter, Randy Moss grabs it and gallops and gets 15 yards and a first down to the 37.
Well, we've been talking about Malarkey's gadget plays. This was a pretty good one that they called for the Vikings. And Joey Porter hits us, or actually it came off of Moss, and then Joey Porter. And Moss has the presence of mind to still locate the football. Really a nice job of concentration on Randy Moss's part.
And the Vikings off the 37-yard line, trailing 21-3 early here in the 4th quarter. Here's the pass out to Chris Carter, and Carter out of bounds after picking up 4 yards. Chad Scott on the play. Again, want to remind you that the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader, Redskins will try to make it 6 in a row after losing their first 5. The viewers here in Pittsburgh will be able to see the Raiders host the Cardinals. Raiders 8-2 coming in.
Yeah, possibly an opportunity for the Pittsburgh fans to get to see a team that they well could face later in the year in the playoffs, possibly the AFC Championship game.
Right now, the Steelers would be the number 1 seed. Both have 8-2 records. 2nd and 6 from the 41. Todd Bauman in relief of the ailing Dante Culpepper, and the handoff to Bennett bounces off the line and is wrestled down close to the first down by Brent Alexander. That looked like it was going to be a loss. Turns out to be a healthy gain.
That didn't look like he was going to go anywhere on that play. Michael Bennett gets the handoff. It looks like there were some problems with the exchange right here between Bauman and Bennett. As you can see, Bauman trying to switch hands. He thought Bennett was going to be on his left side, but Bennett is able to get out to the outside and get some yards out of that. Fortunate that they didn't take a big loss.
They're going to measure, bring the chains from across the field, and before the measurement, they seem to be short by that much, about a half a yard or so. Looks like more. Looks like a full yard and then some.
And I think what they've tried to do here is you get a young quarterback coming into the game who's not played. You want to start him up slow, and that's exactly what they've done. They've given him some opportunities to make some quick completions, some short completions, and some pretty safe throws. But if they're going to get back into this game, they have got to take some shots down the field. And when you look at it, really, not only this game but in previous games, teams are not playing the Vikings any differently than what they have in previous years. But you don't see the Vikings really taking the shots up the field that we grew accustomed to seeing them throw.
Well, there's Moss, who has 4 catches for 48 yards. 3rd down and 1 at the 46. Crowd looking for a Steelers stop, and the pass caught by Randy Moss on the slant, and the first down into Steeler territory to the 37 with Chad Scott on the coverage. So a 17-yard pickup in the 5th catch for number 84.
Yeah, I think that shows you the kind of confidence that they do have in Todd Bauman on 3rd and a yard, that they're going to come out and throw the football on a slant route. Randy Moss does a good job of pushing up the field and getting down inside, but really a nice job, and the confidence they're showing in Todd Bauman.
What did Bauman say? I know the offense better than some of the coordinators here.
I'm not sure how to take that one.
Doug Chapman is the setback on 1st down at the 37. And here is Bauman, and it is an incomplete pass as he has hit Mike Logan. Got a piece of him, but his arm was coming through. There's another role player who has done the job for the Steelers, Mike Logan. There is Dante Culpepper with the ice around his injured knee. It was injured against the Bears last week, and it turned out to be a sprained ligament. 2nd and 10. Bauman on the out. Chris Walsh. Walsh happens to be the receiver he throws most to in working with the scout team.
Well, you know, you ask when a guy comes in as a backup, there's a guy that he's usually worked with at practice where he feels a little bit more comfortable, but because of the way they do the practices in Minnesota, he actually gets an opportunity to throw to Randy and Chris. So he wasn't worried about, you know, trying to establish any chemistry or knowing the subtleties of the routes there. And yeah, obviously this is, you know, his really only a 2nd opportunity to play, and he's going to get an extended time here, but he's a guy that's been in the system, as Troy pointed out, to the point where he feels confident. He knows as much as the coaches, but even though he hasn't played a lot, he's been in this system for quite a while.
3rd and 8 on the Steeler 35. Out of the shotgun for the first time. Bauman's pass is deflected off of Chris Carter into the hands of Brent Alexander. And Alexander with his 2nd interception when Carter appeared wide open for the reception.
That's all on Chris Carter right there. The Pittsburgh Steelers bring a 3-man rush, which drops 8 guys into secondary, and Bauman does what he's supposed to do. It was tipped actually right there by Joey Porter, and Brent Alexander gets the interception.
What?
His first touchdown, his first interception. Chris Cole from the 16. Lost the football. It's loose inside the 10. The Dolphins say they have it. The officials have not yet agreed. They do now. Two turnovers in 15 seconds by the Denver Broncos.
That is the
Chris Cole, the ball was just tackled. I couldn't see who made the hit.
grab a Snickers. Packed with peanuts, caramel, and chocolate.
Later on, we're going to take a nap.
Snickers, don't let hunger happen to you.
Britney Spears is rehearsing right now, but in 2 days, don't miss her sensational show-opening performance from the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas.
It's going to be spectacular on the 2001 Billboard Music Awards.
Live Tuesday on Fox. Be there at 8/7 Central.
Brent Alexander with 2 interceptions today, giving him 4, tied with Chad Scott for the club lead. First time he's ever intercepted a pair in one game. So the Steelers with a first down on the 39-yard line, and the handoff to Chris Mahafala, and he picks up a couple.
Yeah, you go back and take a look at the interception, and it was my mistake. I said it was all on Chris Carter, but if you take a closer look, you see Todd Bauman throwing. Joey Porter actually gets a hand on it there, and then it comes off of Chris Carter's hands. Brent Alexander in the right place at the right time, but obviously a very difficult play for Chris Carter to try to make.
Porter got his hand on one that was caught by Moss, got his hand on this that eventually was intercepted by the Steelers. Second down and 5 on the Pittsburgh 43. Losing the ball momentarily, Cordell Stewart, and his pass incomplete, intended for Hines Ward. Well, he's on the bench with a bruised hip, but for Jerome Bettis, it's been a big day.
All right, I'm gonna follow your lead.
Stay right behind me.
Right behind you?
Right behind me.
You gonna lead me to the promised land?
And everyone wearing the 36, all the buses in the stadium. There they are parked, ready for the ride home. Jerome Bettis with 81 rushing yards and a touchdown today. Third down and 5. And here is Stewart as he dumps it off to Amos Zeraway. And Zeraway is tackled about 3 yards short of the first down as we have a game break now and send it to James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, the Saints looking to climb above 500. Take a look at Aaron Brooks hooking up with the ex-Redskin Albert Connell. 14 yards to pay dirt. That kept a 6-play, 53-yard drive. It's now 20-10 Saints at the start of the fourth. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Well, the Saints trying to make things interesting in the West, as the 49ers already have for the Rams. Josh Miller back to kick, and Nate Jacquet deep for the Vikings. Jacquet on the 12, trying to find running room, and he is upended and down. And that was Mike Logan on the play. Vikings will send Bauman out for his second drive.
So you're a sports fan considering DirecTV? Consider this. Buy a Direct.
You're not fooling anyone with. Now you've got.
Peyton Manning handles the ball better than any quarterback in the National Football League, and he even does it on pump fakes. I mean, he really is a master at the ball fake.
He started the day with tied for the lead in touchdowns with 11. Sean Alexander of the Seahawks also had 11. Now Harrison with 12 touchdown catches. As Harrison was quiet early, but he heats up with his ace thrower, Peyton Manning, here in the third quarter.
Watch here, right at the top of your screen. Marvin Harrison comes up, and McAllister tries to go up and then slips twice. Once on the plant to go forward, once on the recovery. Manning puts it just inside. As the safety help came up to try and get there, Manning threw it in the perfect spot to give Harrison a chance to avoid and catch. Watch here, Peyton Manning knows now he's back in the saddle. Two very...
The Pavilion 7975 with the Intel Pentium 4 processor. How will you use it? Save up to $250 by mail on HP digital photography products.
He's locked away in a padded cell, but one way or another, he'll get to you.
Don't tell me you think the devil did this.
We have to consider extreme possibilities.
The X-Files, all new at 9, 8 Central tonight on Fox.
Denny Green's Vikings trailing 21-3. They have not scored a touchdown today. Didn't score one last week against the Bears, breaking a string 97 straight games. Tied with Oakland, who was snapped. The Browns have the longest string. So it's gone that way for Denny Green. But you look at his record in 10 years, he's won over 100 games, or 100 games right now. And it's been a sour season at this point for the Vikings. On the screen pass to Michael Bennett. Bennett racing down the sideline and stays in bounds, and Michael Bennett will run in and score for Minnesota. And it was Chris Carter who put on the block near midfield, and the Minnesota Vikings, just as we showed the graphic, having their consecutive touchdown game streak snapped, get one right here. That'll be 80 yards.
Well, you know that Chris Carter definitely wanted to make amends for that deflection he had last time. They do a screen. They get a good job by Corey Withrow out. But watch the feet of Michael Bennett right here. Here comes Carter hustling. I tell you, that's a great job of tightrope in the sidelines right there. I don't think he's out. I think that's a tremendous job. Great hustle by Chris Carter trying to make amends for that earlier miscue.
Yeah, great job by Chris Carter, and that's something that you see him do a lot of. He's a lot like...
They're going to challenge this.
You know, Chris Carter is a lot like Troy Edwards in that matter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in that he's very unselfish in the way that he helps block for the running game. Did a great job on that play.
The ruling on the field that the runner did not step out of bounds.
It did not look
tremendous.
Like,
that's a tremendous job by Michael Bennett.
Did not step out of bounds.
No, absolutely not. And that's another one. I mean, he's 2 inches in front. He's 2 inches in front of the Pittsburgh Steelers bench. You thought somebody might have got a good look right there. I mean, they've got the best seat in the house.
Right there with that right foot is what they're going to say.
I don't know. I think the angle we saw before shows it from the inside out. From this angle,
I think it's the right foot coming up is the one they're questioning.
This one right here. There's your right foot.
It's going to be right here.
That's in. That's in.
Just remember, it has to be indisputable visual evidence for them to change the ruling that he did not step out of bounds. And if it goes as a score, it'll be Bennett's first receiving touchdown of his career, and of course Todd Bauman. It would be his first touchdown.
Well, that's the playmaking ability that they've been waiting for from Michael Bennett. The ability to take a short screen pass and use his speed to turn it into a long play. And obviously, you know, at this stage of the season, who knows if this is something that continue, but we've done several Minnesota Viking games, and the one thing that they always talked about was the potential that Michael Bennett had with his speed to break a game open.
Here's the other look as Bennett staying in bounds according to the ruling on the field.
Well, there's certainly not anything from the angles that we've seen that would indicate that there's indisputable evidence that he did in fact step out, and that's the biggest key.
It's been a long challenge, certainly more than 2 minutes in any event. The Steelers have used up their last challenge. They had one in the first half on Cordell Stewart, claimed did not have a knee down on his way into the end zone on the 1-yard line, and he did, and Jerome Bettis went over on the next one for the score.
Well, you know, let's take a look here and see how Michael Bennett got so wide open. You see at the top of the screen, you've got the 3 receivers, just single coverage down at the bottom. And there's the offensive lineman doing a great job out in front. And then right now, he's got the 1 guy to beat, and Chris Carter comes over and helps him out. So a nice design, splitting the 3 wide receivers out up to the top, bringing the 1 down to the bottom. The majority of the traffic up there at the top, and Michael Bennett comes down and sneaks out to the side. But again, the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings doing a good job of getting out there and getting the remaining defenders out of the way.
After reviewing the play, there is no indisputable evidence to overturn the ruling. The play stands as ruled. Touchdown.
So no more challenges for the Steelers, and it's 21-9. And the first NFL touchdown for Michael Bennett. And the first NFL touchdown pass for Todd Bauman, and he can always tell his grandkids that my first touchdown pass was like 5 feet.
Yeah, it went for 80 yards.
It went for 80 yards.
Well, as soon as you start talking about the fact that they had not scored a touchdown in this game and didn't score one last week, boom, they go 80 yards for a touchdown.
Called taking it on cue. Here's the extra point, Gary Anderson, and the kick is good. So with 6:29 to go in the fourth, it is now an 11-point game. Bauman to Bennett.
Need a trim?
Now, from that angle, it depends on when they give him the catch. The catch was up above his head at the time it hit his hands.
Well, the thing you
We'll
have to
see.
consider here is it has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the ruling on the field.
Okay, if you
ruling
give
on
him-
the field
to
with
give
the
him
catch.
that catch there, if the foot is already down, if his left foot was
I think
down
it's a
first.
catch.
Yeah, it depends on if they give him the catch when his left foot was already down, because the second time it came down, obviously, it was way out of bounds.
Ron Winter in deep conversation with somebody high above.
Now that, and you wonder how tough it can be. It looks kind of, you know, we get a good look at it here in slow motion. Watch it regular speed as it comes down.
Boy, geez, I tell you, fish hitting in this league, I mean, everybody looks at things in super slow motion and said, hey,
well,
that ball was, these guys got to look at it
once
at 100 miles an hour once. Fortunately, they have a chance to review something like that.
As a player, Don, I was all over those guys. I didn't give them any slack. I yelled and
Fun.
Hey, there's big news at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Bite.
To get back on top of the football. I'm beginning to think it's our fault.
Think so?
Every time we give them some kind of credit, something bad happens. They just cannot stand prosperity. And Connell should jump on that ball because it's his muff that caused, you know, the negative play.
Well, amazingly, two Panthers had a shot at it. Cedric Killings looked like he had the ball. And then Al Lucas ended up locked up with Connell, but Connell got the ball back.
Now,
Onside kicks where one crosses in front of the other. One will kick, the other will not. So they set that up now. There is Anderson number 1 and Berger 17. The kick must go 10 yards for it to be the onside kick, and it's going to be Mitch Berger, and it's not an onside kick but a deep kick. Hank Poteet back at the 10-yard line returning for the Steelers. And why shouldn't the Vikings come up with something fancy as well today? Well, Fox tonight, catch a new night of your Sunday favorites. And it all starts with King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Malcolm in the Middle, and The X-Files. That's tonight at 7:30, 6:30 Central. Sunday's best only on Fox. On The X-Files, maybe he'll be seen tonight in the episode.
Still wearing the same helmet from Pop Warner.
That's Bradshaw's helmet.
First down at the 25 for the Steelers. And the handoff is to Fuamatu Mahafala. And he picks up about 3 yards on first down as the clock winds to 6 minutes remaining in the fourth.
What Chris Fuamatu Mahafala has to be aware of, a guy that probably doesn't get to carry the ball out in these situations. You would like to have Jerome Bettis in there, who doesn't fumble the ball very often at all. He's got to be respective of what the Vikings are going to be trying to do. They're going to want to get him to the ground, but they're also going to want to try and take that ball out of his hands. Ball security, the #1 priority in this situation.
Denver Bettis has a bruised left hip, which is why he's on the sideline. Send down and 8. Fuamatu Mahafala with a couple gets to the 30-yard line. Lance Johnstone was there. It'll be 3rd and 5. There is Jerome Bettis, who had 81 yards on 19 carries, including the touchdown. It was the only touchdown in the first half. Vikings took a 3-0 lead on a Gary Anderson field goal. Bettis gave the Steelers a lead, and they have not looked back, although Bauman hitting Bennett for an 80-yard screen pass and run. which tied the 6th longest pass play in Viking history. Third down and 5, and the pitch goes to Fuamatu Mahapala, trying to turn the corner, and will be knocked back. First man to get him was Dale Carter.
Well, and Fuamatu does a nice job of staying in bounds and keeping the clock running, which is what they wanted to try to accomplish on this drive. They wanted to get first downs, but most importantly, they wanted to keep the clock running, and they were able to do that. Dale Carter coming up and making the tackle on the play.
Dale Carter, of course, who sat out 18 months, suspended by the NFL for violating the league's substance abuse policy, had been with Denver. And here is Don Morgan back to receive the punt. It goes out of bounds, and they'll mark it at the 26. Todd Bauman, this will be his 3rd series, and in the second one, led them to the only touchdown.
Yeah, and when you talk, you know, Moose talked earlier about the fact that in practice he still gets an opportunity to work with Chris Carter and Randy Moss and these guys to throw balls to him. You don't know how much he gets an opportunity to actually work the 2-minute offense, and so that's something that they're going to have to go into at this point. They're 2 scores away, and time is of an essence. They got to go into a no huddle.
First down at the 26. The Vikings have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. And Bauman will be firing it away and going deep to Randy Moss, who makes the catch. And Randy Moss is knocked out of bounds inside the 10 by Chad Scott. So he tipped it with one hand and made the catch, and a 62-yard play, and the Vikings are in business.
Well, we talked about Chad Scott, how he has a tendency to get beat. I don't understand why they would put him one-on-one with Randy Moss in this situation with 4 minutes to play in the game. Randy makes a nice catch there, but the fact that he was even in a position, he clearly ran right by Chad Scott. And if you're going to play single coverage, which I disagree with, Chad Scott should have been out of there and not let anybody get by him, especially Randy Moss.
First down for the Vikings on the Steeler 12. Todd Bauman with a give to Bennett, and he is tripped up by Mike Logan. So,
well, you take a look right here. Chad Scott, he's been thrown at 10 times. They've completed 10 for 186 yards. And, you know, Bill Cowher talked about him and said he has played well. He has gotten beat, but he comes back. That's just not smart football in this situation in the game. And you've got to know where you're at on the field and what game situations are when you're playing.
Doug Chapman is the running back for the Vikes. Second down and 9. Bauman with a pump fake going to the end zone, intended for Randy Moss, but covered well by Dwayne Washington, and bringing up third down. Remember, as you mentioned, Troy, the Vikings need 2 scores. That would be a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal, so they could conceivably settle for the field goal here.
Well, yeah, if you don't get the touchdown here, Denny Green will kick the field goal because he does need the 2 scores, and obviously if he wasn't able to go for it, if he was going for it on 4th down and doesn't convert, the game is over.
Well, I think if they score here, they're going to go for 2 points, because even if they fail to make a 2-point conversion, they're going to need a touchdown. But what it's done is it's made them not have to go to a 2-minute offense because they got the ball down here so quickly.
Third down and 9, and here is the pass to Randy Moss, and it is touchdown, Minnesota. Todd Bauman has come in and has led 2 drives, and Randy Moss is shaken up right now as he gets up. He caught the 62-yard pass and now appears to be all right. So the touchdown pass of 12 yards.
Just a couple of great throws by Todd Bauman on this drive to Randy Moss. And I tell you, talking to him last night, he is not short on confidence. I mean, he has a lot of confidence in his abilities, and you've seen that on these 2 throws on this drive.
And here's the 2-point conversion. Without Moss in the game, Travis Prentice is the tailback. And there's the fake, and Bauman is going to have to throw it, and it's off the hands of Byron Chamberlain as Bauman threw a fastball.
Boy, he had him. He had him, Dick. He had Chamberlain in the back of the end line with a chance to get the ball right into him.
Here is Moss's touchdown grab, and then the 2-point conversion, as you pointed out.
You see here, he had a shot at him in the back. It just got high.
21-16 the score.
Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world.
Hal discovers a secret about his boys even he can't handle. Now they're on the run from Lois.
Where are you? He's folding.
Discover the secret on a new Malcolm, 8:30, 7:30 Central, tonight on Fox.
Well, it's become a uncomfortably close game for the Steelers, and Randy Moss coming alive in the second half, answering those that say, well, maybe he just decides he doesn't want to play anymore. This team was down by as much as 21-3, and Todd Bauman in relief of the hobbled Dante Culpepper, and the total yards in this quarter, the Vikings going over 200 yards. So they're back in it.
Well, there was so much made of the talk about Randy Moss saying, hey, I play when I want to play. He certainly is playing here in the fourth quarter.
So here again, they go with Gary Anderson and Mitch Berger, both on the field. One of them will kick, and let's see. It is not an onside kick. Berger again going deep. Hank Poteet at the 10-yard line. And the Vikings do a great job of coverage downfield, led by Travis Prentice.
Well, some people might be saying, why do they do all that before the kick if they're just going to kick it deep? What it does is it really disrupts the retreat of the guys up front. They lose their count, and you usually get very poor returns in that situation, as opposed to just lining up in your normal situation and kicking it downfield where you recount everybody. I've been on the kickoff return team before, and I hate dropping back deep in an onside kick situation.
So now the Steelers are on the 15-yard line, and the Vikings can use their timeouts if they need to defensively to stop the clock and hope to get the ball back. First down at the 15-yard line, and the handoff to Puamatu Mahafala, and he gets about 3 yards. Kylie Wong making the tackle.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dick. What happens is that they were very content. Pittsburgh was very content running the football on the previous series, and they ran it 3 straight times to try to take time off the clock, but they failed to get the first down. Cordell Stewart has to show in this series that he's going to be able to make the throws to convert third downs and hang on to this football.
So the Vikings decide to let the clock run. They still have the 3 timeouts, nearly 2.5 left. 2nd and 7 on the 18. Puamatu Mahafala going wide, and the Vikings are there again. The clock continues to run, and now the timeout called. Robert Griffith makes sure the officials see it, and the clock stops with the first Viking timeout with 2:18 remaining in the fourth.
It's a nice job by the Vikings defense right there, because every time up until this point showing that overloaded look in motioning the fullback, they have run to that side, and on that play right there they run a trap back out the back side of it, and when the play developed it looked like a nice changeup, but the Vikings did a good job staying at home and not chasing what they've been seeing the course of the game.
Yeah, and I think again right now with 3rd and 4, that it is imperative that the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they're going to go on and run this, they have to be able to get a first down here. And I think there's been so much talk. There's so much talk about quarterbacks in the National Football League today. It seems to become very fashionable to talk about how you want your quarterback to manage games. Well, I think quarterbacks are there to win games. And this is an opportunity for Cordell Stewart to show that he can win the game. And I think that's the next step that he has to take. You're talking about, all the things that he's been able to do this season and the improvements that he's made and the confidence that he's got. I think this play right here, what is called here, will show what kind of confidence these coaches, in fact, have in Cordell Stewart.
3rd down and 4. 4 wide receivers, and Zaraway going in motion. And there's Stewart. Fumble. And at the 9-yard line, the Vikings appear to have it. The Minnesota Vikings have recovered. Lance Sawyer has the ball, and woe is Bill Cowher as with 2:13 to go. Chris Hovan hitting the quarterback, Cordell Stewart, and the Vikings recover on the Pittsburgh 10.
Dick, sometimes I think you outsmart yourself. They go to a bunch of shifts and try to bring in different personnel to block right there. It didn't look good from the start. You got Hovan who knocked the ball loose, and then Lance Sawyer falling on it. And it didn't look like they gave themselves much of a chance right from the beginning, just in the protection standpoint up front.
And it was Chris Hovan who got it done. He took Oliver Ross and walked him right back. Actually, you see right there, it was Oliver's hip that knocked the ball from Cordell Stewart's hands.
Stunning here with 2:13 to go. First and goal at the 10 for the Vikings. The touchdown will put them in front. Here's the pass to Randy Moss, and he goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line and stops the clock with 2:09. The Vikings, who are in great shape, they have 2 timeouts left plus the 2-minute warning. Steelers may be now looking at timeouts in the clock if the Vikings score.
Well, Troy just talked about Cordell having the opportunity to just win this football game, and all he had to do was do it by converting and making some first downs and running the clock out. Now he's going to have to come back and take this football team down for a score.
Second and goal at the 5. Todd Bauman has led this incredible comeback by Minnesota. Bauman pump fake, and the pass intended for Moss again. Incomplete.
That was really a nice play right there by Todd Bauman, showing some real veteran leadership.
And is there a late flag now?
Yeah.
Yes, on the goal line.
Pass interference, offense number 80. 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
That hurts. Chris Carter.
Well, and what happened was they were trying to fake it to Moss, and Chris Carter got the block before the ball was ever in the air. You see Carter throwing the block. The ball had not been thrown. Bauman, what I was going to say was they were trying to fake it, the play that they had run earlier, to Randy Moss, and then come up inside with a screen. The screen was taken away, and then Bauman got out late, and that's why Chris Carter got called for the pass interference.
Todd Bauman held the ball. The timing was disrupted. He's got to throw that ball in time, or Chris is going to get called for the pass interference while he's blocking.
It is still second and goal. This time at the 15, the comeback screen, and Doug Chapman is tackled, and a big play made by Myron Bell of the Steelers. And we'll have our 2-minute warning now with 1:58 on the clock. The ball will be placed on the Steeler 19. The Vikings need a touchdown to take the lead. We'll be back.
Fox NFL Sunday. Brought to you by Madden NFL 2002. EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's different down here. Madden NFL 2002. EA Sports. It's in the game. Rated E for everyone.
You kids want some chicken nuggets?
A phony Santa giving away mystery meat nuggets? Not today. Now, taste the holiday cheer of all-white meat KFC popcorn chicken.
KFC popcorn chicken. Get an individual size for only $1.99 or a party size for only $6.99.
You know, that's better than fruitcake.
There's a different way to look at your money.
What's it say?
ING. It's not an ending. It's a beginning.
When Bernie Mac takes the kids to church,
I gotta get out of here.
he's the one that'll need to be saved.
Hallelujah!
All new Bernie Mac Show, Fox Wednesday.
This crowd on its feet, waving the terrible towels as the Vikings line up third down and goal on the 15. Todd Bauman gonna throw into the end zone, and it's caught for the tough flag is down. Did he cross the line of scrimmage?
I think he crossed the line, Dick.
That's a loss of down as well.
Todd Bauman went over the line of scrimmage.
That's what he did. He threw it after he crossed the line of scrimmage, so his pass to Chris Carter in the end zone will be nullified.
Line of scrimmage, offense number 8. This is a 5-yard penalty. includes the loss of down, 4th down.
The line of scrimmage is the 19-yard line. You'll watch as the play develops, and Todd Bauman scrambles. He does a great job of buying time and finds Chris Carter in the end zone, but you can see he's past it right now. He's all the way down to the 16, 17-yard line, even beyond that depth.
And so the pass is nullified. Would have been a touchdown, but he was over the line. And now on 4th and goal from the 20, the Vikings eschew a field goal that would bring them closer, and they're going for it all here. Here's Todd Bauman getting pressure. Here's Randy Moss in the end zone. Incomplete. And the Steelers will take over on downs. Guys, the Vikings had the option of going for a field goal, using timeouts, hoping to get a ball back for another field goal attempt.
Well, the Steelers bring pressure to try to get Bauman to throw the ball early. He does just that. It gets the one-on-one matchup outside against Dwayne Washington. That was close. That was close to being pass interference right there.
And Dwayne Washington, a former #1 draft pick by the Minnesota Vikings, played 4 years with them. And a lot of contact going on down there, but no flag.
Yeah, that's a good job by Doug Toole, just letting them battle it out in that situation. That's going to either make or break one of these football teams this afternoon. I like the decision to let them just play physical and go up for the football.
So from the 20-yard line, the Vikings still have 2 timeouts left, and the handoff to Briscoe Matumaufala, and no gain on the play, and the Vikings have to use their timeout, but I think they wasted about 6 seconds in getting it.
A little surprising to me, one, on the pass play to Randy Moss that set it up to get him down there in that position, one-on-one working against Chad Scott, which I didn't think was a very good call. Then right there on 4th down, they go and they allow Dwayne Washington to play Randy Moss one-on-one, and they were able to get away with it. But you don't see very many opportunities for Randy Moss to go one-on-one at any point in a ball game, especially when the game's on the line.
You know, it's interesting the way Todd Bauman led this team in the 4th quarter. And of course, you know, everyone will always wonder if you bring in Bauman earlier against a hobbled Dante Culpepper, what you have gotten. It's of course, the first guess has to be made by Dennis Green, but it certainly presents interesting points here. Bauman with an impressive performance since coming in. 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Again, the handoff and nothing there for Matumaufala, and the Vikings will use their last timeout with 1:30 to go. So it'll be 3rd down and about 10 for the Steelers.
Well, and these last 3 series, this one included, this is the time when you really miss Jerome Bettis. You know, as good as he played, this is the time when you want to take time off the clock, and you don't have that guy right there out there on the field. It is a huge blow to this football team, and you know, that's what Cordell Stewart had gotten accustomed to in these kind of ball games. You got a guy who's able to run the football and take time off the clock, and now they don't have that.
It was a bruised left hip, and you know, I'm sure that, you know, you think of Bettis would have gotten a couple of first downs along the way.
Well, let's give credit to this Minnesota Vikings defense. You know, they played extremely well last week, gave the offense an opportunity to win the football game at the end, and they've actually gotten the mentality where, hey, you guys can lean on us now. You know, we don't have the superstar players that you do, but they come out and they play hard. And as you pointed out, Troy, this Pittsburgh Steelers team has had now their 3rd opportunity to grind this clock out, and this defense will not allow them to do it. They're going to give, if they stop them here, this offense one more chance to win this football game.
But they'll need a touchdown and not a field goal, so they decided to not go for the 3 on the previous possession. 3rd down and 10. The Vikings are out of timeouts, and here's the handoff again to Matumaufala, and he's going to ice the game. And that'll do it. Matumaufala finally breaks one after being stopped for very little yardage, gets 46 yards before Tyrone Carter brings him down in Minnesota territory.
Well, they overload the side again. They motion John. Here comes Marvell Smith around the corner. The patience of Chris Fuhumatsu-Ma'afala to let the pursuit go by. Look at him right there. There's his decision. There's his hole. He hits the seam, and there was really nobody there. I thought he had an opportunity to maybe take it to the house.
And the clock is running, and the Steelers will win it and take a knee. But it became awfully uncomfortable for them down the stretch after a 21-3 lead. After 3 quarters, the Vikings come close, and Bill Cowher will walk off with his 100th career victory as a head coach. Well done.
Well, congratulations to Bill Cowher. Yeah, that's quite a milestone right there, a 100th career win, and he joins some tremendous coaches in the 100-win club.
And Todd Bauman showing a great spark in bringing the Vikings back, but they fall short and go 4-7 on the year. They've lost 8 in a row. And for the Steelers, they are 9-2 for the first time since 1983. And for Troy Aikman, Darrell Johnson, Pam Oliver, Dick Stockton saying so long from Heinz Field, the Steelers beat the Vikings 21-16. Be sure to stay tuned to Fox Sports for the post-game show after these messages. For more information on today's game, log on to foxsports.com.
Welcome back outside Pro Play.